Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ and the Latter-day Saints. What the fuck? Alright, we are back. Yeah, it was the fucking Twitch simps. They came for me, man. They heard me talking trash. They heard me using my logical brain to think through an issue instead of responding with wild emotion. And they're like, shut him down. Shut him the fuck down right now. No, just kidding. So my roommate's girlfriend was using her air fryer, and I guess it was short, like it was tripping or whatever, and not working on the outlet. So like she reset the or like hit the breaker, but the specific breaker that she hit, only specifically goes into my room, and that outlet that she was on as well. I guess I thought that I don't know. I didn't know exactly what happened, but I thought that power went out everywhere, and I'm like, oh god, is this the dark winter Joe Biden was talking about? Ah. Is this the solar flare? Oh my god, dude. Holy fuck. Sorry. God damn it. I am so sorry. Let me fucking mute this shit. Oh my fucking god, dude. I'm so sorry. Holy shit. Dude. Oh yeah, so and then whatever she was cooking fucking set off the fire alarm too, so but we are good now. Holy Christ on a cracker, man. That's actually like too ironic, honestly. Alex with the 5 says, here's a little something for all your trouble tonight. Thank you so much, Alex. I apologize if that blew out your guys' ears. It's not very cash money. Is that anybody's like ASMR, just like having their ears completely blown out by fire alarms? It's like the only way you fall asleep. Jesus Christ. Laura with the 5 says, hey, glad you're here. Update on my life. Fell on way to work. Fractured my left ankle. I'll have surgery Monday. Pat Pradeep for me. I shall. He was fucking freaking out. He hates that fire alarm shit. But I'm so sorry to hear that, Laura. I'm glad that, you know, you can get surgeries in there. I know that some places are struggling with that right now, so I'm glad that you can get that figured out. You stay a step away from the stove. It just sucks. It's like anytime you use, well, it depends on what you're cooking, but sometimes the smoke in the kitchen, like unless you leave the vent on the microwave like running for like a half hour afterwards, like any sort of smoke that like just permeates through the house and hits like the hallway fucking fire alarm, it's game over, man. At least I know if at least we know that, yeah, the fire alarms are working, and I'll be safe in case I ever burn alive one day. IJ, I talk with the 2 says, drinking vodka, super tipsy, making stir fry, baby. Hell yeah. Jay, let's get it, baby. That sounds amazing. Save me some, please. Just leave it at the foot of your bed at nighttime, and I'll come out from under your bed and grab it with my furry claws. The God of Pez with the 5 says, Joe, I appreciate you deafening me. Now I have to not hear the people at my job. Now tell us about your day, and what was she cooking? Some sort of chicken. I went down there. I did steal a French fry from her, though, in penance. She owed it that much, so. But thank you. Sorry, yeah, I hope that didn't freaking, like, actually destroy your guys' ears, because it destroyed mine. I'm like, because I was worried, actually, if I was like, fuck, I gotta mute this immediately. Which, thankfully, I knew how to do that. If it's not one thing, it's another. Am I right? Am I right there? Schick with the 5 says, I'm on my alt now, Lamau. Take this for your house being destroyed. Yeah. This is fine. This is fine. It's like a giant engulfing flames behind me. Alright, guys, I might not last very long. It depends on how long before my skin starts to peel off. But the house is on fire. Favorite alcohol? I don't know. I mean, that peanut butter whiskey I had before was pretty dang good, but I'm not a huge alky. Some people are huge foodies. I'm more of a foodie. I like to just shovel food into my mouth. Have some good fried chicken from Bojangles. I don't even know if we have a Bojangles around here. What did you say? I cannot hear you. My beatboxing getting good, baby. Yeah, my beatboxing is so good I can make a fire alarm noise now. Alright, well anyways guys, thanks for being here. All that aside, Jesus Christ. So fucking insane actually, but it's fine. Yeah, click that like button. Share this out if you would be so inclined. That would be amazing. Always appreciate that. Follow me on social media in case sometimes you don't get the notifications on YouTube. You know, you hit that bell, it doesn't always work. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, all linked down below. And Discord. Discord is where all these cool cats hang out afterwards and chitty chat with each other. Lots of neat folks on there, posting selfies, posting art, posting ideas and thoughts and feelings, making internet friends. Peanut butter whiskey is called Screwball. Yeah, that's the one I had. Musical with the 5 says, rest in peace, air fryer. Yeah, I don't even know, man. It was a process and a half. Thank you for the 5. And Buttersock. What is up with the 7? Canadian says, jingle bells, COVID smells, mask on all the way. Deck the halls with mask and sanitizer. You need me to sing Broadway while I sleep? I really want to see The Book of Mormon on Broadway. I think that would be amazing. How's Kitty? He's all right. He was in here, and then the fire alarms went off, and now he's having a mental breakdown somewhere else in the house right now. Joel's meme page is where it's at. Hell yeah. At Horny Computer. Hopefully my channel never gets, or my meme page never gets banned, because sometimes I get warnings from Instagram's like, automated system or whatever, where my memes might be a little too edgy for the algorithm. But I'm gonna go balls to the wall on that because it's fun. Do I like Harry Potter? It came out when I was like in 6th grade or some shit, and it was, the books obviously existed before then. I remember I never read them. I was never much of a reading individual as a kid. Just played video games and shit. I did really enjoy the Harry Potter video game that came out. I think it was the second movie. Which one was that? The Goblet of Fire or something? Maybe that was the third one. But yeah, there was one that came out on Xbox that was a lot of fun. Played that. Definitely saw most of the movies, but I think after like movie 4, once I was like in high school, I just kind of like faded out of Harry Potter. But I do like the idea of it, and I think everybody should check it out if they're into the fantasy world. But yeah, guys, we have arrived. We have made it. All squeaks and squawks aside, everything is good to go. Like I said, we're going to be reading 5 scary, crazy ex-girlfriend stories. So I don't know how many of you have had an ex-girlfriend in here who's a little bit wild, or perhaps you've been the one to slash someone's tires for not marrying you or whatever. But we gonna be reading them tonight. It's gonna be a good time. So invite your friends, snuggle up, turn your fire alarms off. JK. Harry Pothead, yes. But gonna switch it up, gonna switch the stylings to something a little Christmassy there. You like that? And gonna switch over to Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse. Record scratch. I'm gonna set the spooky mood. Sure does change, doesn't it? Change the vibe, change the feel. All right. But yes, 5 stories. Gather around the fire as I tell you about your future ex-girlfriend. Also got ex-boyfriend stuff lined up as well. Been stoked to do these two. They're going to be released relatively close to each other just to kind of equal things out, Chill, lo-fi, Joel hip-hop beats. Hell yeah, brother. Oh. Whoops. 1 second. I thought I made you, no worries. There we go. There we go. Alright. 5 stories. Let's get it. Somebody said they're going to be drinking every time I make a mistake. I highly suggest maybe you up that to every... You know what? I'm not even going to advocate for that because it could get messy. Jensen's here and he's watching the stream on a 2004 Nokia phone. He's the only one without severe hearing loss from that fire alarm. See, those circumstances would be funny, I think, to... I don't really understand why YouTube doesn't have, like, some sort of clip, ability to, like, make clips and stuff, because that would be fun. I guess I can make it in my studio, but it's not. It's only fun whenever, like, people in the chat actually do it, Oh, you're wrapping presents. What did you get me? What'd you get all of us? All right. Let's get it. At around 2 p.m. on Sunday, June 20... Oh, actually, fuck. I just realized, like, I wanted to do these in a different order. Yeah, that one. That one. And that one. Sorry about that, guys. At the end of last summer, I was just about to, fuck, I'm already off to a good start. Laura with the 5 says, can't take any pain stuff because my gastric bypass, the only thing I've taken is Tylenol, but I have Joel and spooky stories, so thanks for everything. You're welcome. I remember sleep. Sleep was a really weird thing for me because I remember being like camping out in the mountains one time and totally overestimated how warm it would be, and it dropped down to like 20s up there, you know, right around when it was spring, and it was like 70 during the day or some shit. And we had to make these tents ourselves. And I just remember like I didn't even have like a very good sleeping bag. I thought it was gonna be too hot, but it was actually freezing. And I actually left my boots on, and my fucking feet were so cold, so unbelievably cold, I could barely sleep. But whenever I would finally pass out for, I don't even know how long it was, like 15 minutes that night, I just remember like I was like pain free, did not feel the cold at all. But then as soon as I woke up, I could just like as your body was waking up, I could feel the pain start to like, you know, just all my nerves like activating and just feel everything come right back. It was, so that's just from an anecdotal perspective. Sleep does help mitigate the pain, I suppose, a little bit. At the end of last summer, I was just about sick to my... This is such a weird saying. Sick to my back teeth. What the fuck is that saying? At the end of last summer, I was just about sick to my back teeth of dating apps. But somehow, I just couldn't quite bring myself to delete them. Maybe it was an inspired determination to never give up, or maybe it was just the fear of spending my 30s alone. But either way, I ended up just moving them to the second page of my iPhone menu. I could still get notifications and whatnot, but they'd be out of sight, out of mind. Then exactly 10 days after I'd almost sworn them off, I met... What? That's a fucking weird-ass name. Her name's Kaola? Kaola? It's like Khowla. Anybody ever seen that name before? Kaola? Looks like there's someone named Kala, like that has existed at one point. Kaola bint al-Azwar. Hey! Can't even read that from this far away. Man's Slippers with the 2 says, hey, love the narrations. Quick question. Have you heard of the Dark Somnium? If you have, what do you think of his work? I think Dark Somnium's great. He's actually a friend of mine. He's a very talkative, nice, awesome person. And he puts a lot of effort into his narrations because he puts a lot of like cool effects that go along with the story immersion, which is cool. So yeah, love the Dark Somnium. Also love his music as well. He's a very, very talented individual, and his story's really inspiring too. Like, he, you know, from what I recall, has, you know, basically YouTube saved his life, you know, as far as he was making narrations and dedicated to doing YouTube out of his van for a while, you know, in between homes and stuff. So I have a lot of respect for Dark Somnium. Jessica with a big $20 donation says, love the festive background. Thank you. Yeah, that was done by Mr. Robin Mikalsen in years, well, actually I think a year ago. Kaola is an Arabic name. I'm going to look up how to pronounce it because I've never seen that name before, and I'm going to figure out. I know, initially I read it, I literally thought it was koala. I feel like if I had a friend named that, we'd have to give her the nickname Koala. You just have to. But yeah, once again, we can go to Forvo. And thank you again, Jessica. It's very generous. Thank you. Let's see. That's... Alright. Uno momento. Someone's got to have it here. They spelled it with an O, which is... Shit, bro. Kaula. Pronounce. How to pronounce Kaula. Here we go. Someone's got to know it. Koala bear.
Howla.
Howla. Oh, it's like
Howla.
howla. Alright. It's kind of like howl, like you're howling at the moon. Howla. Alright. Let's finally get it. Holy shit, that took... Whoever's, you know, taking shots for mistakes already, like probably 9 in right now. I could still get notifications and whatnot, but they'd be out of sight, out of mind. Then exactly 10 days after I'd almost sworn them off, I met Howla. She was a good 6 years older than me, and she lived in the next city over, but that didn't bother me, not in the least bit. You see, she was beautiful. A small Arab woman with bouncy natural curls and rich amber eyes that were framed with the most adorable little freckles. Although she didn't make a big deal about it, you could tell she worked out, and to top that off, she was a... Jeez, this guy knows some words, bro. Is it hematology? I don't even know. I think they...
Hematology.
Hematology, okay. The study and physiology of blood. Blood. Alright. She was a hematology consultant. You know, if Joel's on Tinder, he pulls hard, baby. Going ham. Nah, I'd probably get banned off of Tinder if I was. I'd be too funny. Irresistible. Although she didn't make a big deal about it, you could tell she worked out, and to top it off, she was a hematology consultant, like the top blood doctor for miles and miles around, a literal boss lady. Needless to say, I was smitten. Our first date in a Middle Eastern restaurant was... Our first date was in a Middle Eastern restaurant called Bab, and it went very well indeed. We clicked as well as we had in text, and we ended up falling into bed together that very same night. She cried when it was over, telling me she'd done that on a... Dude, I feel like they keep forgetting fucking words, and I'm like... She cried when it was over, telling me she'd done that on a first... Oh, I think she meant to say never done that on a first date before. Jesus Louises. She cried when it was over, telling me she'd never done that on a first date before. I just held her, told her I've got you, and promised that she wouldn't live to regret it. We had breakfast the next morning, and it was just as magical as the previous evening. A second date, a little over 12 hours after the first, which was pretty unprecedented for me. That evening we had dinner again, with her introducing me to traditional Libyan food, something that was very dear to her as her countries of origin... Something that was very dear to her as her country of origin's cuisine. I see. Sorry, some of these sentences are just confusing as fuck. Something that was very dear to her as her country of origin's cuisine. I think I might be a little biased in saying it was incredible, but trust me, it was good. That night, neither of us wanted me to catch the train back to my home city, so I stayed another night, and so began an intense but brief relationship. We talked every single day for months, swapping photos we'd taken of sunsets and parkland vistas, captioning them with, "You should be here, I miss you," and the like. Being a top-tier doctor, she was far too busy saving lives to ever see me during the week, but we spent almost every weekend together, visiting fancy restaurants in between watching French movies, as she was fluent in the language, and the little tours that she'd give me of the grand city that she called home. Everything was going incredibly, at least until one weekend when she couldn't see each. You like sticky rice? Have you heard of WAP by Cardi B? If not, go play it right now. WAP, Let It Drop. That's a wet ass Pokemon. Everything was going incredibly, at least until one weekend when she couldn't. Damn it, I did it. I've literally read the same fucking grammar error again. Everything was going incredibly, at least until one weekend when we couldn't see each other because she was going back to Yorkshire to see her parents. She seemed a wee bit quiet for the duration, but I took that on the chin. Even though she was 38, I knew her parents were very, very strict and that her mum adhered to a particular kind of Islam that is known as Salafi or... Salafi. One second. Let's see how to... There's too many words, man. Too many words on Earth. We need to decrease that. We need to mandate a decrease in words.
Salafi.
Salafi. Okay, cool. Just kidding. We need more words. More words like WAP. Salafi and what's this one? Wahhabi. What's up, Wahhabi? Probably Wahhabi. Can't find it there, but we're gonna go with it. Okay. Even though she was 38, I knew her parents were very, very strict and that her mum adhered to a particular kind of Islam that is known as Salafi or Wahhabi. Those are the kind that don't believe in things like singing or dancing and even take issue with stringed instruments for some reason. So, naturally, the idea of her unmarried daughter having a boyfriend was out of the question, let alone a non-Muslim one. So like I said, I understood why she didn't want to get caught. I understood why she had set her WhatsApp setting to not display messages on the lock screen, and I understood why she never saved me as a contact. God knows what they'd do if they found out about me, and it really didn't bear thinking about it. But even when she got back to the flat she lived in, even when she was rid of her parents for another few weeks, she seemed a little cold. However, a week or so went by, and she seemed to return to being her normally warm and affectionate self. So, for the next few months or so, I didn't think anything of it. All the strange negativity that she'd brought back from her parents' place was forgotten. Right up until the time around her birthday, when she'd once again promised them that she'd make the trip home to see them. Needless to say, I was prepared for some turbulence, but I had absolutely no idea how bad things were about to get. It ended the Monday after she got home. We had a massive fight about the future, how we were basically doomed, how her parents would never accept a non-Muslim or anyone who earned under 6 figures a year. I talked about the prospect of me converting religiously or maybe writing her father a formal letter in Arabic asking for her permission. Shit. We the best music. You can only listen to Metal WAP. I want to hear Metal WAP. That sounds kind of awesome. I talked about the prospect of me converting religiously, or maybe writing her father a formal letter in Arabic, asking for his permission to marry her. I knew he'd respect that, but the idea just terrified her. "You're too optimistic," she'd say. "Too young. Too naive." We continued to argue, but she just settled on the excuse of, "I just don't have time for a relationship right now. I'm sorry. What we had was..." Sorry, this is just fucking confusing. Got a Pez with the 5 says, "Joel, my fiance is laying with me. She is captivated by your tone, but more so by the Zelda sound effect. Stop stealing our women." All y'all women's is mine. It's okay. Hey, listen. Do they still use the hey listen? Is that like a predominant sound effect in the newer Zeldas as well, or was that just only in Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask or wherever it was from? Because if not, that should be a thing that they have. Jensen says, "Be right back." Okay. Unless BRB means something else, such as back rub baby. Looks like he's looking for a back rub, guys. Guys, we can't talk about simps, otherwise my power will get shut out again. Hey, Morgan, what's poppin'? Owned by Joel. Getting 360 no-scoped. 420 no-scoped, sorry. Camel Crush. Oh no, smoking is prohibited in the chat. Alright. I just don't have time for a relationship right now. I'm sorry. What we had was nice, yes, but that's all in the past. Hate me, just hate me. It'll be easier to let me go that way. Okay. Alright. We continued to argue, but she just settled in the excuse of, I just don't have time for a relationship right now. I'm sorry. What we had was nice, yes, but that's all in the past. Hate me. Just hate me. It'll be easier to let me go that way. I knew something had happened back at her parents' place, something that tipped her over the edge of pessimism and into full-on doomsaying. I begged her to tell me what it was, but she wouldn't. She denied anything bad even happening at all. But I could always tell when she was lying, and she was never any good at it. After that, after I failed to convince her to stay, it was all just tears and apologies, until I finally got the balls to just say, that's a weird thing. What the hell? Ma salama ya habibti ala hafiz. Dude, I'm not gonna pronounce that. Be able to pronounce that at all. Maybe I can look it up. I have no fucking clue how to say that. Ma salam. Ma salam. How do you how am I supposed to know how to fucking say this? Ma salama ya Habib ala Hafiz? Maybe I could just say like what the translation is. IDK, dude. I gotta put everything into Forvo just to figure it out. Masalama. Is it Salama? Salami?
Salama.
Salama, okay. Okay, so we got it. Masalama. Masalama. You probably have to say it quick, don't you? Masalama. Ya Habibti? Is Habibti a thing? Or is it Habib? Habibi. Okay, the T is not present. Habibi is one, though.
Habibi.
Habibi, okay. Jesus Louisish. Okay, Masalama ya Habibi ala Hafiz. Okay, I know Allah. Hafiz. Hafiz.
Hafiz.
Hafiz. Masalama ya Habibi ala Hafiz. Alright, we'll figure it out. Can't help me there. Spanish is the... Yeah, we have a lot of Spanish speakers. I don't know how many speakers of Arabic. IJ, I talk with the five, says, look, I need a hard hitter. I need a deep stroke. I need a Henny drinker. I need a weed smoker. He got some money, and that's where I'm headed. Hey, I don't blame you, IJ, you know. Sometimes you just need to find a provider. Joel gonna be an English teacher at this pace. Easy peasy, baby. As long as you have Google on your hands, you can teach anything. Easy peasy, habibi. Okay. Ma salama ya habibi ala hafiz. We're just gonna roll with it. I don't think anyone will care that much. After that, after I failed to convince her to stay, it was all just tears and apologies, until I finally got the balls to just say, Ma salama ya habibi ala hafiz. Goodbye, my darling. God protect you. I tried to keep in touch after the breakup. She was someone that had achieved so much in their life but was, by their own admission, a little messed up. I didn't want to just abandon her because she'd broken my heart. She said it herself. She said that she'd like to keep in touch but was worried it would blur the lines, how it was better if we didn't have any emotional attachments, since it was so heartbreaking that two people who got on so well just didn't have any kind of future together. I assured her, as best as I could, that it wouldn't be that way. I just kept trying to weasel back into her life. I genuinely just wanted to stay in touch. In her own words, she would say that they would always... In her own words, she would always reply to messages. Oh, I see. Lauren says, I can't teach math. You could try it. Also, yeah, today we had so much snow. I literally got fucking buried in snow trying to get out of my driveway. It was terrible. Actually, really, really terrible. In her own words, she would always reply to messages, but she didn't. The very next day, her replies dropped off and eventually petered out altogether. It was crushing. Something must have happened to her, I thought, but I tried to push the idea out of my head. It was a pathetic attempt to reassure myself that she still wanted to talk. She just couldn't. There had been a car accident. She lost her phone. She was sick, maybe. All these worried thoughts came flooding into my head, all in an attempt to replace the devastating reality that she just didn't give a monkey's toss about me anymore, that she was cold-hearted enough to just cut me out of her life. Like I said, I tried my best to force such ideas out of my head, but the more I tried, the more they got a grip on me, and one day, I just decided to call her, just to see how she was doing. My heart pounded in my chest as the phone rang, mainly from anticipating the pain that would hit me when I heard her say something along the lines of, "Oh God, leave me alone, I'm blocking this number." But her mumble just went to voicemail. Oops. I mumbled the word mobile, and it didn't sound right. So bad at math, you've almost failed your college courses. Yeah, I always really didn't like math, but I found that the only way to get good at it was just to practice over and over again. It's just like a repetitious thing, kind of like learning music or some stupid shit. Well, not the music stupid shit, but you know what I mean. Like it was, it's just that like, it was just all about repetition, which is kind of the reason I hated math too, because we talked about this before, but it's just, you know, on stream, it's just annoying that there's just like, I don't know, no application, no obvious application, I guess you could say. Joel, you're going to make me finish this whole 3-liter wine box with these mistakes. Hey, those are your personal choices in your life, and I respect them, and I highly encourage you to be safe. Be safe out there, guys. Especially with alcohol. But her mobile just went to voicemail over and over again, and I tried calling a lot that day at different times just to make sure. She wasn't responding on any of her social media accounts either, not a single one. None of the messages were even being read, and she always read her WhatsApp messages, always. Even if she wasn't going to reply, she'd read them. The next day I tried her at work, the same adrenaline pumping through me as I expected to hear the worst. But when the call was picked up and I heard a voice on the other end, I immediately recognized that it wasn't her. "You're through to Dr. Peterson," they said. It was a male voice. I asked the guy if I could talk to... Dude, I don't remember how to say this chick's voice. Oh yeah, Howla. Howla. Dr. Howla. Howla. Does Pradeep purr deep? He does. Very, very deep. It was a male voice. I asked the guy if I could speak to Dr. Howla. I used her second name, but I'm not prepared to give that one out here, and to my shock, he told me that she hadn't been into work for the past 2 weeks, that as far as he knew, she didn't work in that hospital anymore. I asked if she was okay, and he had no idea that he'd been transferred there a few weeks prior to her filling in temporarily as a consulting position. Sorry, that's... Alec, you drinking, bro? You in the Joel party action? I asked if she was okay, and he had no idea that he'd been transferred there a few weeks prior to fill a temporary fuck my fucking throat. I'm already squeaking, bro. I'm already squeaking. JonasBrothers@gmail.com. I asked if she was okay, and he had no idea that he'd been transferred there a few weeks prior to fill a temporary consultancy position. She loved that job. She said it was her future. She once told me getting that consultant's position was the greatest achievement of her life. Something was wrong, and I could feel it in my bones. As crazy as it sounds, I decided to try and visit her at her apartment in the next city over. Even if she was home, had moved jobs, and just told me to get lost, at least it would ease my mind. At least I'd know she was okay. I rang on her apartment intermittently for hours, hoping she'd either answer or I could catch her returning home. Eventually, I saw one of her neighbors walking into the apartment building, and I summoned the courage to ask her about how I cannot fucking say this name. Holy shit. Howla, right? You gotta howl at the moon. IJ, I talk with a 5 buckaroo says, I want you to touch that little ding-a-ling that swing in the back of my throat.
Hey, listen.
Okay. I will try my best. We're doing tonsil examinations here. Roleplay ASMR in the chat. Weird flex, but okay. Thank you for the 5, IJ. Macaroni in the pot, get a bucket and a mop. Is that the most disgusting lyric, do you think, out of that entire WAP song? Or the most genius? Can we rate? Can we decide? Eventually, I saw one of her neighbors walking into the apartment building, and I summoned the courage to ask her about Howla. He didn't know her by name, but he did have some information, telling me he'd seen some people moving some furniture out of the apartment about a week prior. I asked him if it was a moving company or something, and he said no, just 3 Arab-looking people, 2 older, 1 younger. I pestered him for a description of them, and from what I could tell, it sounded like her mum, dad, and brother. I pressed him on whether or not that he'd actually seen Howla, and he told me no one fitting her description was there that day, and he'd been in and out of his flat an awful lot. My last move was to track down a phone number for her dad. Getting hold of the family landline would at least give me an idea if she was okay or not. The base case scenario was that she just moved back in with her parent. Your inner lips say hi. Is that like a ventriloquist lips? Like talking without moving your mouth? Hello, I'm a ventriloquist doll. My name's Schlappy. If it's spelled Hala, it's pronounced Hala. It's not spelled that way, I'm sorry. It's spelled K-H-A-W... Well, they spelled it with an O, O-W-L-A. But the way that I'm seeing it existing within conventional language is K-H-A-W-L-A and pronounced Howla, so... IDK, IDK. The best case scenario was that she just moved back in with her parents for whatever reason, be it a breakdown or maybe to look after one of them if they were sick or something. I mean, the whole situation just seemed really unusual, and I had a terrible feeling in the pit of my stomach that something was very, very wrong. Since he was a retired doctor, it was relatively easy to find his number. I just lied to an old colleague of his, telling them I was an old patient that wanted to say thank you. But when I called, what I was told has what? But when I was called, what I was told has me has me as like the present tense. Alex Love with the 2 says, just finished my drawing of your character. Nice. Please do tag me somewhere. I would love to check it out. Yeah, that's why I said koala. I thought it was koala. John F. Kennedy's here in the flesh, brain matter and all. My fellow Americans. But when I called, what I was told had me absolutely terrified. I know it was the right person. I know from the cute little impressions Howla used to do of him, I know I was talking to her dad. But the man I spoke to said he had no daughter named Howla, but not in the confused, bewildered manner you'd expect from a genuine case of mistaken identity. He got angry, really angry, and before he hung up the phone, never to answer it to me again, he told me who knew who... What the fuck is this grammar? Like, how can you write a story like this and have, like, just, like, the weirdest grammar sometimes? He got angry, really angry, and before he hung up the phone, never to answer it to me again. Like, what does that even mean? Never to... Oh, I see. Like, if he called back or something? He told me he knew who I was, that I'd make a serious mistake, and that they must have been tired or something. 69 mood right now, thanks to Joel. He got angry, really angry, and before he hung up the phone, never to answer it to me again, he told me he knew who I was, that I'd made a serious mistake, and that if I ever called again, he'd be contacting the police. But it's me that's going to be contacting the police because I think something terrible has happened to her, and I think her parents are responsible, with some help from her brother. She'd only mentioned once or twice how controlling they were, how they'd kill her if they ever found out that we were together. I always thought she meant metaphorically, never literally. But for the past few months, I'm starting to think otherwise. I think my ex's parents found out about us, and I think they may have murdered her. I have no way to prove it, and the police won't listen to me. I tried to report her missing, but the policewoman I spoke to said that they got a call from a woman in Switzerland who assured them that she was Howla and that she wasn't missing at all. Only I know for a fact that she has a sister in Geneva who works for the WHO, one who might well be easily convinced to lie to protect her parents. It's way beyond her just ignoring me at this point. Surely she'd have contacted me and told me to stop looking for her, to just give up. But she hasn't, and she was always such a lioness, never afraid to tell me what she was thinking. I just hope I can get to the bottom of this one day, but it terrifies me to think that a girl could just be disappeared by her own parents. And if that really is the case, then I won't rest until they face justice. I won't stop until I find Howla. Yikes. What the fuck happened? Nikki Newman with the 5 says, tonight's chat is the best ever. I love you all. And by the way, this story is so odd. Smooches. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened, or why would the parents just like, what are they talking about? Joel, how many backs did you blow? Let's just say that all of their vertebrae are now fused together. Yeah, I don't know. Could be disappeared. I don't know. Elizabeth, hello. Welcome. Disappeared. She was killed? Like, just for dating this nerd guy? I feel like that's a bit extreme. Like, what the fuck? And why would the police, like, cover that up, though, or whatever? You know what I mean? Yeah, if you're 38, how the fuck does your parents have control over you? I mean, I guess I don't know people's backgrounds or whatever, but I feel like if you live in the UK, which I assume these people did, that you would have a relative degree of freedom to just do what you want. There are no hot single MILFs where Joel lives, unfortunately. Honor killing. What the fuck? That's fucking weird. Get some funny stories for a change. Stand-up comedian. Well, I had some comedy-esque stories on the channel, but they weren't read by me. They were read by, what was his name? C Mustard. Those were funny as fuck. But they didn't do very well. Like, in the general scheme of things, they tended to piss people off. It's a culture thing? I don't think it's a culture thing to kill people. That sounds kind of fucking bad. You're a single MILF. There we go. John F. Kennedy, your wife is a big fan. Well, welcome. Thank you, wives. How many wives have I stolen? Yeah, I mean, if that's a thing that still happens, that's fucking terrifying because I would assume that that's within the realm of illegality that should be prosecuted under, the law of the land. It's a culture thing. Look it up. I mean, like, I don't, like, am I supposed, if killing is a cultural thing, like, if you had a friend that was killed, like, would you not look into it or something? You know what I mean? I'm not just gonna sit here and like be like, oh yeah, it's chill. I was dating this girl, now she's dead because she dated me, and like, that's not cool at all. It's not cash money. Both people have different humor. It's so hard to make everyone. Well, yeah, my channel is not like a comedy. I mean, obviously the streams are fun, but I mean, like, putting out like comedy content is, do more camping stories. Perhaps you guys should go camping. That happened to a classmate of yours? Jesus Christ! Like, I was like, it's just terrifying. That's what the fuck. They probably just disowned her and are not claiming her as their own daughter. Well, that's a possibility. Maybe she moved away. I mean, you would hope that parents wouldn't go to that extent. I feel like that almost seems fucking inconvenient, and you could potentially put yourself in a, criminal scenario, even if it is your, like, culture. Yeah, that was not a comedy reading. I don't think that was intended to be comedic. Joel has some crazy exes. All of you. Walking, jogging story. Yeah, we'll do walking. Well, I guess walking is like hiking, but it'd just be funny if they were just like basic walking. You can't camp. Bears scare me. I guess it just depends on what bears are around you, because I mean, you have like a bear bag is what they do. They put the food of the night or whatever that could attract bears and put it in a bear bag and hang it on like a tree that's like maybe quite a distance away from your campsite, because usually black bears are relatively skittish. So if you live in an area that has black bears, which is most likely your area, you should be safe. I mean, black bears are not known to be very aggressive outside of their cubs, you getting between them and their cubs. But obviously grizzly bears are a different scenario because they're territorial sometimes. So, but I have heard stories of people like being ripped out of tree stands and stuff from a black bear. So it's not to say that they won't completely F you up, and it sucks because with black bears you can't really like play dead like you can with grizzlies, but at the same time I feel like even if you do play dead from a grizzly, it's you probably still would die. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? Yeah, I'm just gonna move on. That shit's fucking skeeving me out, man. IDK, man, IDK. Feeding a grizzly bear out of a jug, no fear. That's maybe you raised it, but yeah. I'm from West. Oh, that sounded. Sometimes I go to talk and my voice like doesn't activate quite. I'm from West Virginia and I move all the way. Moved. Just add the D in there. It's the first sentence. I'm from West Virginia and I moved all the way to Lexington, Kentucky for a girl. Now, that might be, well, the scariest part of the story, that a dude from West Virginia moved over the border to Kentucky and only for a girl, but I assure you, it gets worse. A lot worse. She was super affectionate when we first got together, like I couldn't have wished for a better girlfriend. But as time went on and we got more secure in the whole thing, that affection dropped off to next to nothing. It was a slow process, almost like a leaky bucket or something. I barely noticed the relationship dropping off bit by bit until one day I just realized that there was nothing left of us. We were like roommates more than anything, hardly spent any time together, didn't actually get intimate for like months at a time, and in the end, sleeping in the same bed as her was so depressing that I ended up just staying on the couch. Not long after I started calling the couch my bed, we broke up, formally. It sucked, but I saw it coming a long way off, and it wasn't entirely unwelcome. And that's when I started talking to this girl on Reddit. Now, I should make it perfectly clear that I was never, ever unfaithful to my girlfriend, only when we broke up. I was so starved for affection and female attention that I looked for it wherever. Durf, what's poppin'? You silly goose. Only when we broke up, I was so okay. Blah 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 blue, blah 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 blah. The only people that don't like Krabby Patties. Only when we broke up, I was so starved for affection and female attention that I looked for it wherever I could. I wasn't confident for dating apps, and I don't think. You and your cousin got chased down by a bear in Tennessee, and oh my god, scariest experience of your life. Yeah, sounds scary. Hyrix with the 2 says, here's for providing background audio for me. You're welcome, Hyrix. What are you doing in the foreground? You want a Pradeep appearance? I do have pictures of Pradeep on this Discord, if you would ever like to look there or join. Maybe one of the mods can link you guys. Only when we broke up, I was so starved for affection. Why can't I read? Only when we broke up, I was so starved for affection and female attention that I looked for it wherever I could. I wasn't confident for dating apps, I don't think, so Reddit's anonymity suited me just fine. Eventually, me and this girl that I met on the r/gaming sub swapped numbers and actually started planning to meet. She lived over in Arizona, but flying down there to meet her didn't seem like a big deal at all, not when she was so nice and pretty too. I remember staying up super late talking to her one night, trying to keep my voice down so my ex wouldn't hear. We planned all the stuff we'd do together, all the places that she'd take me in Phoenix, all the bomb Mexican food we were going to eat. I was excited, and I went to sleep smiling, but I sure didn't wake up that way. I woke up to loud crashing noises just feet away from me in the TV room. At first, I thought it was a home invasion or something, but when I looked around, it was her, my ex, and she was smashing my Xbox with a baseball bat over and over again. I screamed at her, asking her what she thought she was doing, then went to grab my phone so I could call the cops. Only it wasn't on the coffee table, where I usually put it on charge every night. It was nowhere to be seen. That's when my ex started ranting about how I'd been cheating, how she knew everything, and then mentioned the Reddit girl by name before she swung at me with the baseball bat. I fell backwards over the couch trying to avoid the strike, and I did, but Jesus Christ, the whole rush of air as it went past my face just about put the fear of God into me. She chased me around the apartment, swinging that bat as hard as she could until I locked myself in our bathroom. I thought I might be able to reason with her from the other side of the door, to be able to actually explain that the Reddit girl was someone I started talking to after we broke up. But she actually tried to bash the door down, and I'm still amazed that she didn't manage it. Like it was legit like that scene from The Shining. She bashed a hole in one of the wood panels and proceeded to scream through that. Thank God it wasn't big enough for her to reach through and unlock the door, otherwise I'd have been in some serious trouble. Eventually she calmed down enough to try and... calm down enough to try and kill me. That's not quite right. He moved for the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Hell yeah, brother. Joel, let's Netflix and chill together. Out in the igloo. They're making Netflix $18 now? What the fuck? Didn't they just lose a fuck ton of money? Didn't they lose? This might be an excessive jump here, but didn't they lose billions of dollars in investors recently, and they're gonna fucking up the price to $18? Maybe they're trying to make up for the cost, and maybe people will pay it. I mean, are you guys gonna pay $18 for fucking Netflix? Of course, I guess Netflix is kind of a staple for some people at this point, but I don't think it's that much of a staple for people to be $18. That just seems like so much. Eventually she calmed down enough to try and... fuck. Netflix is like a gym membership that you never use. I know, and I feel like that happens to a lot of people. At this point, I'm anticipating the day whenever Netflix is able to weasel their way into the government and make your tax dollars pay for your Netflix membership. It just becomes fucking public television. But the shows start to suck. Documentaries. Yeah, I was watching a little bit of that Icarus documentary, which is about blood doping or something for this guy that, and steroid use, HGH use and stuff. Eventually she calmed down enough to stop trying to kill me, but she wanted me out of the apartment, that night. I didn't even gather everything up. I just threw some essentials into a bag and got out of there. I kept imagining her sneaking up with a kitchen knife or something, catching me off guard and then just stabbing me to death or something. I've had friends ask me why I didn't just restrain her, why I was so scared of a girl. But that's about the dumbest response I've ever had to this whole story. A swing from that bat or a stab wound in the right place, it wouldn't have mattered what was or wasn't dangling between a person's legs. I'd have been dead as a doornail. I got out of there pretty fast, drove to a motel, then tried and failed to sleep through the rest of the night. The next morning, I called my mom in West Virginia, told her everything, and arranged to stay with her for a little while until I could get back on my feet. I'd have gone back to the apartment to get the rest of my things if I didn't think that she'd either smashed or burned everything I owned. Besides, I was just happier to be out of there by that point, and I'll tell you another thing. I've never, ever been back to Kentucky since. I'll wait until Tyler Childers... What the fuck is this statement? I'll wait until Tyler Childers comes back round to Virgie rather than bring up all those bad memories. Is that like a song lyric or some shit? Tyler Childers... Tyler Childers? West Virginia. How do you say Tyler Childers? Tyler Chills. Tyler Childers. Okay, that doesn't work. Tyler Childers. Alright, let me just do Childers, because that's the only one I don't know how to say. Childers is a pending pronunciation. Is it Childers? Am I not saying it right? Anybody know? Did I watch Avatar? No, I didn't actually. Either of the cartoon or the, fucking, you know, Childers? Is it Childers? Tyler Childers. Tyler Childers. Do an interview. IJ, I talk with the two says, did you watch Avatar? I did not, my friend. None of them. Just ended at Kentucky. I thought it was Childers. Okay, cool. It's pronounced Childers. I'll wait until Tyler Childers comes back round to Virgie. Is that like a song of his, Virgie? Come back round to Virgie. Follow you to Virgie. I can't play the song. Wait.
Virgie?
Okay, it is Virgie. That's all I needed to hear. Thank you, Tyler. And I'll tell you another thing. I have never, ever been back to Kentucky since then. I'll wait until I'm out of fucking water. Childers. Do a beard? I do have a beard. Tyler Childers comes back round to Virgie rather than bring up all those bad memories. I'll wait until Tyler Childers comes back round to Virgie rather than bring up all those bad memories. Sorry, I feel like I didn't say that right. I'll wait until Tyler Childers comes back round to Virgie rather than bring up all those bad memories. Sometimes, like, there's certain, like, phrases and shit that I don't know, I just struggle to get past, like, saying rather than, like, I can say it if you really pronounce it, but, like, trying to say it at a pace that doesn't sound like that sounds like almost normal, like, I'll wait until Tyler Childers comes back round to Virgie, rather that than, why the fuck to say rather that than, I guess it'll be easier, but rather than, like, the THs mixed together, it just fucks with my tongue. I sound like a calm news reporter. The fuck? It's all up in my mouth. You guys remember that video? That was like one of my favorite videos. I gotta grab a water real quick. I will be right back. And I get to use the be right back thing. Check it out. Okay, I am back. Hydrate, my king. I love the internet, man. I fucking love the internet. I am well hydrated now, and I am ready to reign over my kingdom. West Virginia. Country mama. Alright, what's everyone wearing? Hopefully nothing. Saw, dude. My voice is cutie. Thanks. Thank you. Oh, where's Fry? Yeah, Lila, you're outnumbered here. Oh no, we got old Schick. Schick is available as well. Oh, there's Fry. The mods' numbers grow by the day. They're like the lieutenants on the battlefield. Scary orphanage stories. That would be interesting. I could see some of those being paranormal if people have them. Virtual Stone 575 with the $5 says the king is back, baby. The Butter King. The Doink Dad. Who else is in jammies? Alright. Let's get it. Almost 10 years ago. Oops, sorry. The notification hit right when I was talking. It like confused me. Normally I can read through it, but it like timed perfectly. How many stories are tonight? There's 5, but they're pretty solid size. Sleep on a bed made my voice. Yes, my tones will levitate you. There's a Discord? There is a Discord. You're eating expired bread? Yikes. Does that mean it's just like all moldy and blue? There's blue cheese and then there's blue bread, baby. Almost 10 years ago now, I'm in a college down in Florida when... Wait, that sounds so strange. Almost 10 years ago now, I'm in a college down in Florida when I get a call... Oh, I see. Scary incel, weird kid stories. Yeah, I mean, like, the thing is, though, is, like... I guess if you call someone an incel, it could be offensive if they didn't, like... If they weren't, like, negative towards you. You know what I mean? Where if there was just a nice, you know, weird kid who was silent and you know, he didn't ask for it, and you like bullied him into calling him an incel. I can understand why Twitch would get mad about that, but most of the time I feel like it's used in a sense, like a meme fashion, you know, where it's like aimed almost just like sort of at an indirect idea of what an incel is, because mostly in my mind they don't really exist. Like, I mean, they like, sure, they exist, but it's like it's always seemed like it's sort of just like generally shot out into the ether that this you know, caricature of a human exists, that they're angry and they hate women and they're down in their basement and they've got a neck beard, you know what I mean? Like, it's just very few people, I'm sure, hypothetically encompass the concept of an incel, you know what I mean? It's weird. Oh yeah. Invite to the Discord. Almost 10 years ago now, I'm in a college down in Florida when I get a call from my ex-girlfriend, who I'd only broken up with like 6 months previously. I didn't recognize the number at first, as I'd switched cell phone carriers not long prior. I'd never been one to answer calls from unknown numbers, but since I was in college, I used to get calls from professors, people over at Financial, people inviting me to D&D games in dorms and stuff like that. So I kind of nervously answered, just sort of hoping it was going to be about something good. I recognized the voice immediately, and as soon as I do, my heart just sinks. There was a reason I hadn't given her my new number, and I wondered just how she'd gotten hold of it. She's all like, "We need to talk." To which I reply that I'm not sure we really do. It had been like 6 months and I thought we were out of each other's lives. She responds with like, "No, we really, really need to talk. Are you sitting down? Because I have something to tell you." She's pregnant. That was my initial thought, and I won't lie, I did feel myself getting weak in the knees. So I sit down on my bed, feeling my heart racing in my chest and my hands getting clammy, getting ready to hear the bad news. We got a patient in the ER from a car accident, and she didn't make it. I'm so sorry, but it was you, Mom. Now, my ex worked as an emergency room nurse, and getting the news like, it was you, Mom? Oh, your mom. Okay. I'm like, does she think he's her mom, and she's telling the mom that? I don't know. I thought the first none of that made any sense, but the first thing I thought was like it was like a ghost story or something. Like, what the fuck? Chanra, thank you. My bum cries brown tears after chili. Oh my god, that's hilarious. That should be on a, like the meme where I don't know, like I like that like shitty memes are getting more popular. I mean, that's the way it's been forever, but just like a picture of like Doom, or not Doom guy, but like the guy from Duke Nukem where he's like, your cock, my ass, you do the math, the kind of thing. But I could see the something similar to that where he says, my bum cries brown tears after chili. So if you guys if there's any meme masters out there, please get to work on that ASAP. Get to Project Warp speeding that shit right now. America needs you. Carson Claus, what's up, homie G? What's poppin'? Fellow creator. Fellow YouTube slave. We got a patient in the ER from a car accident, and she didn't make it. I'm so sorry, but it was your mom. Now, my ex worked as an emergency room nurse, and getting the news like that absolutely destroyed me. I was just in shock. For some reason, I tried calling her cell, but she didn't pick up. Of course she didn't pick up. So I hung up to... Oops. You gonna run for president in 2024? Do I want to be vice president? Not really. I feel like if I were gonna be running for president, I would need I wouldn't do it lightly. You know what I mean? Like I would need a whole fucking ass First off, I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to handle the bullshit that a president goes through. I just want to put that out there. I think I'm better at running a Discord, don't have a lot of experience with the cutthroats that exist within politics. But I feel like if I were to do it, I would need a whole ass military intelligence operation on my side. You know what I mean? I would need people guiding me, telling me what to do, fucking 30 steps ahead of whoever's trying to poison your Cheerios. Joel Biden, yeah. Sleepy Joel Biden, yeah. But that's literally the most hypothetical scenario of all time, and it's not even worth thinking about. But yes, I would love to be your VP, Mr. John F. Kennedy, the ghost of. You quit your job today at Kroger's Deli. I hated it. Hey, fuck it, dude. You hate your job? I mean, if you don't have any immediate responsibilities and you're not going to die, you might as well just experience your life and fucking go somewhere else, Fuck Kroger's. You got 2.5-year-old twins. Nice, Draconian Overlord. You want my voice to sit on your face. Nice. It just speaks an ass into existence that just squishes you. Joel's got hairy legs. This is true. But I think most of us do. Babies are cute as fuck. Babies are cute as fuck, but my one buddy, he recently had his second daughter, and she's probably only a couple months, I don't even know how many months old she is, but she's a fucking infant, right? And she does not she's either happy as fuck or mad as fuck. You know what I mean? It's just, It's either like, yay, yay, I'm, bouncing around, or I'm sleeping. I mean, it's pretty much like a series of it. It's like an algorithm. Like, I'm crying. I either want to be like, you know, over here with you, bouncing on my feet. I shit my pants. I want titty milk. You know what I mean? Like, there's only a few series of things that you kind of go through the algorithm to figure out what they're looking for. But if I ever have a kid, hypothetically, like, I would not be able to do it alone. Like, I think probably need to, avoid making a baby in a lab where it's therefore or like, say you ordered a baby off of Amazon, I would suggest not doing that because I wouldn't be able to raise it by myself. I would need some assistance. Perhaps all 600 of you could help me. Honestly, I feel like babies and kids almost need like really busy households, you know what I mean, to be raised in. Not just like with other kids and shit like that, but like with fucking grandparents, parents, other people, you know what I mean? Like, so everybody can just like hand the infant off to like another person so they can get like 5 hours of sleep and then come back and then just go full bore with raising a kid again. You know what I mean? Because I feel like raising a kid just seems fucking hard as shit. Now, granted, when it's yours, I'm sure it's a little bit easier and you're kind of up for the challenge or whatever. But Julia just had a baby. Well, congratulations, first off. I would like to welcome them officially to planet Earth. It's only going to get better from here. And make sure they fucking stay in school, play some sports, make some friends, don't do drugs, eat not a lot of sugar, I don't know. And make sure that they have 1 or 2 laughs a day. And be sure to dance, just have a dance, just dance and shit. It's the best thing, even though it's hard. Yeah, I can imagine it's probably a very satisfying existence being a parent where you're just like, that's your purpose, is now to raise that child, and it's your everything. Like your encompassing reality is all based on your progeny. Shago, you're high as fuck. Nice, dude. It's a girl. She's a cutie. Aw. Eat, pray, love. Eat, pray, love, shit. Okay, so I hung up the call. Okay. Wait. I was just in shock. For some reason, I tried calling her cell, but she didn't pick up. Of course she didn't pick up. So I hung up to call my little brother and give him the news. We cried like babies as I told him everything. How my ex had given me the news ahead of time, how she wasn't answering her phone, all that stuff. He confirmed that she'd driven over to Walmart like an hour or so ago and lamented not making the most of his last goodbye with her. Then, in the middle of us having some real heart-to-heart, I hear him just shout, "Mom," out of nowhere. She wasn't dead. She just walked through the door, super confused as to what was going on. Long story short, my ex had lied, and she did so because she wanted to hurt me. Quote, I just like I'd hurt her. Whoops. Jesus, what a fucking bitch. Okay, I thought the mom was dead. At first I thought this was just a scary story because, and it involved your ex or whatever. But this is a real cold-hearted COONT. Don't have a baby before 25. I mean, if you do, it's whatever. You had yours at 17. I imagine that would be hard. You would definitely need your family to help you with that. And hopefully the guy and his family. Yeah, this bitch is a sociopath. A psychopath. Long story short, my ex had lied. And she did so because she wanted to hurt me, quote, just like I'd hurt her. This is about the point I tell you that I cheated on her with a girl in college, but was at least a man enough to admit it and have her break up with me. I'm not saying I didn't deserve some kind of revenge, but dear God, Not that brutal. Ex-boyfriends can be terrible, sure, but some ex-girlfriends can be absolute psychos. You're 33 feels like the right age. Yeah, I think, like, wherever, whenever you have it between, you know, obviously I think it gets easier. It's like, I think like the peak ability to have kids, like the probability of having them is like peak between the ages of like 22 to 24, right? So like that's going to be a peak time, but like based on how culture kind of like progresses most of the time, most young women are not usually as, I guess, mentally, financially like prepared to have kids around that age, or perhaps they're working on their career. It's not saying that they all have to do that or whatever. Everybody goes different paths. But I think individuals, in their 30s, if they have a kid, obviously the ability to conceive is I think by the time you're in your 30s decreased to something like 30% or something like that, which it doesn't mean that it's impossible, but it's decreased. But at that time, I think you're just a little bit more mature, mentally prepared to like, fulfill that, internal desire or whatever, to raise children. Michelle Ortega with the 3 buckaroonies. Thank you, Michelle. Says, how's it going? It's going fantastic. We're just reading stories about crazy ladies. A child in this economy? Well, the way I look at it, if you live in like a westernized nation, um, obviously it can be difficult depending on the quality of life. But I mean, you see in other nations where they kind of like live in their degree of poverty, like if they can raise kids, I think people are more than capable of raising kids in this culture, even though it's not going to be easy. They might not, if you don't have the financial funds available, you might not give them you might not be able to spoil them, but who knows, maybe, not spoiling a kid is actually a good thing, and they learn to appreciate the reality and what they have. Do your thing, girl. Your longest relationship lasted about a month. It's whatever. Everybody, I don't know, a lot of people put like a lot of like pressure on like almost in like sort of a romantic, like the romanticized Disney princess concept that a relationship almost has to happen. But there's people that live out in the fucking woods and eat snails off of trees and pine cones and stuff like that, and they make coyote pelt lingerie, and they never get married, and they're fine. It's whatever. It's chill. Kingdom Cali, you don't belong here. Why not? You're at every stream. That's why it sucks when you do lives in the middle of the day. Oh yeah, I've been trying to get them at like a pretty decent time now. Your last relationship lasted 3 years. That's a doozy right there. Get ring lungworm. What the fuck? Disney's perception of love. I mean, like, I don't know. People talk about like unconditional love, but like sometimes I think love is very conditional. I mean, people sometimes just looking at someone, they say they're loved, but it's like it seems as if though you're loving them for what they look like. And then maybe like things become a little bit more unconditional as time goes on, but eventually you start to realize that like if you're going to be in like a long-term relationship, it's like it's a give and take on both sides, and a relationship can break down just as easily as it found itself in the honeymoon zone. The honeymoon zone filled with honey. You want to eat pine cones with me, Joel? I'll wear my best beaver pelt lingerie. Now you're speaking my langy. Well, Drew, that's cool, man. It's whatever. I mean, if you enjoyed your time with that person and It can be hard breaking up if you've been together for so long, but sometimes those relationships never really end, you know? I'm sure people like who were dating someone forever in high school, they if they still existed near each other in college, they may or may not have continued to just hook up randomly over that period of time and just be more open about things. I've seen it happen. You're happy single and relationships good, yeah, you know? The more you're happy with yourself, the more appealing you will be to other humans, you know? Whenever they see that you're independent and maybe you have something that is bringing joy to yourself, they're going to want to be around you, you know? If you start to rely on another person too much, it can be very burdensome for another human being, you know? Butts are beautiful. It is kind of funny, like people's attraction to the place where everybody poops from. Whoa, look at that slab of meat. But I am guilty. Get your roommate's girlfriend to refill your wine. Dude, she'll just burn your wine down, dude. She'll melt the bottle. I'm just kidding. Alright, we are on story 4 of 5. You're in a relationship with Joel's mommy milkers. Everyone feed from the milk of Let's Read. Don't ruin butts for us, alright? Ooh, look at that big, beautiful butt. Age rated? What the fuck's age rated? The live streams are not, honestly, I feel like I can understand some people, I don't even know if that's what you were asking, but I can understand, like, some people kind of, like, anticipate a degree of, like, there's children in the room or some shit like that concept, but if you're gonna have a live stream, I've never in my entire life met someone that doesn't, to a degree, speak with language that's at least within the realm of, like, rated R, you know, even kids, you know, that's just how they talk to each other, you know. So like having a you know, a live stream it's almost impossible to like censor yourself or like try not to say something that's just, I don't know, iffy, you know. I don't know, it's so annoying living in that existence where sort of censored speech or like just the rating of languages and stuff like that. Like people become way too concerned with it, and it just places way too much power in language. It's very strange. They say kids who curse are more intelligent. Good, because I'm about to say stinky fart poop. I'm the coolest guy here. At around 2 p.m. on Sunday, June 27, 2004, 17-year-old Craig Allen Freer was paying a visit to his ex-girlfriend at the Cambridge Manor apartment complex in Scotia, New York. Scotia is a small, quaint town of only around 8,000 people, situated just over 20 miles north of Albany in upstate New York. It hadn't been long since they'd gone through a terrible and traumatic breakup, one that had left. Thank you, Mystical. Thank you. To be honest, if you're positive and just believe you'll get what you want, it'll happen. I don't focus on finances. Doesn't bring me down, and I don't have much. Yeah, you know, always stay positive. I think always being appreciative of what you have is the most important thing, you know, because being jealous of like other people's stuff is such a waste of time because you're not them, you know. But if there's something you want and you know, and you can like just take a day, sit down, maybe have a discussion with somebody, write it down, like what your goals are, things that you want. Say you want a house, you want a car, you want this career, you want, you know, blah, blah, blah. And just write down a game plan. You know what I mean? Just write it down. maybe put it on a big old whiteboard or a chalkboard or, you know, just a piece of paper or notepad, type it up on Google Docs, whatever the fuck you want to do. Just get it down, make a game plan, see if it's realistic to do, make a, you know, just fucking shoot your shot, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people kind of get caught up in this idea that the universe is just going to hand you something, but in reality, everything is just cause and effect, so you gotta go for it. Hi, Hannah. How are you? But a positive attitude can go a long way. What's the most scared I've ever been personally? I don't know. I remember one time I was like rock climbing, and it was probably about like, I want to say I was like 30 feet up in the air, and I didn't have any harness or anything like that. I just kind of thought that I would get there, but it was like had just rained that day, and I just thought that the one grip was too far away that I could make it if I could make it normally, but it was so slippery that I thought I'm gonna fucking fall, and I am going to die. And I made it, and you know, I'm like, oh God, please help, and I made it, you know what I mean? And but at the time, I just remember like kind of like hanging on, and even like the friends like down at the bottom were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I think I'm gonna die. I think this is where I die. Like, what do you mean? Like, I can't do it. Longest fart I've ever ripped. Ooh, we'll have to check the data. The data sheets that I have from years prior. Oh, Hannah's got some fart stories for you. You what? Thanks, Angelina. Thanks for the internet hugs. It hadn't been very long since they'd gone through a terrible and traumatic breakup, one that had left both teenagers heartbroken and depressed. It was so crushing for Craig that the depression that resulted from it had caused him to simply stop showing up to his job at the local Price Chopper. Price Chopper? What the fuck is that place? Is that a store? Is that a store? Price Chopper Supermarkets. Price. Oh, I see. For some reason, I didn't like compute in my head like Price Chopper, but I realized it's like a karate chop. Like you're just fucking chopping prices like cinder blocks, Bruce Lee style. Yo, that price looks a little too high. Bam, fucking chopped. Yo, that price looks not bad, but I'm gonna just do a quick chop on the edge, make it more manageable. It was so crushing for Craig that the depression that resulted from it had caused him to simply stop showing up to his job at the local Price Chopper. His manager had given him a few formal warnings at first, but once their initial worry had turned into frustration and disappointment, Craig was fired and promptly replaced. So it's clear that the event had a profoundly negative effect on Craig's mental well-being. But what's not clear is exactly why he'd driven over to his ex's apartment that day. He could have driven over to patch things up, for the romantic reunion of two teenage lovers, but it's also just as likely that one or both of them simply wanted proper closure, so that each could leave that chapter of their lives behind in peace. But Craig's visit to his ex was extremely poorly timed. You see, right about the time he was driving over to his ex's place, Craig's mom stopped by the Price Chopper to pick up a few grocery items. She wasn't the type of mom to deliberately embarrass her teenage son, but seeing him in his uniform while he worked hard always made her feel extra proud of him. But as she walked around the store, she couldn't see him anywhere, and had to learn from one of Craig's former colleagues that he had been fired as a result of endemic, unauthorized absences. She was furious, not only because she had to learn it in such a humiliating manner, but also because Craig had lied to her face about going to work that day. In fact, he had been deceiving his parents about the loss of his job for at least 2 weeks by that point, and his mother was desperate. Oh, what is it? Oh, hits this guy. Happy birthday. Sorry, it's hard to read your name, but happy birthday to you. Hope you're doing well. Thanks, Heather. XOXO. In fact, he had been deceiving his parents about the loss of his job for at least 2 weeks by this point, and his mother was now desperate to find out just where he had been going all that time. Craig's mom called his cell phone at the next available opportunity. She waited patiently as the dial tone buzzed away, but the call wasn't answered. She tried again, only to once again find that the call rang out. It wasn't diverted. Craig wasn't shutting down the call as to ignore her. In fact, it would turn out that he didn't have his cell phone at all during that time, that he had drove over to his ex's in such haste that he'd forgotten something he rarely neglected to carry on his person. This included his wallet, which he'd left behind in his bedroom with $40 in cash inside. However, Craig's mom was also no fool. She had a good idea where Craig might be and had also made a point of taking down his ex-girlfriend's landline number while they were still together. So she called her apartment, got an answer, and found that Craig was there. She confronted him with the knowledge that he had been fired from his job and informed him that she had already told his father the bad news. Craig then told her that he would drive back home in around 10 to 15 minutes once he was done talking to his ex. But Craig never arrived home. He was reported missing, and the first person the investigating police spoke to was his ex-girlfriend. She told them that after he had left his apartment, he had not gotten into his car but had instead walked off into the woods behind her apartment complex. This was evidenced by the fact that his vehicle was indeed still parked in the complex's parking lot. The police then discovered that the night before he disappeared, Craig Freerer, oh, it's a weird name. Freerer. I initially only listened to these for the stories and never thought about his voice until my father asked me why I listened to these at night. He was like, "Do you like his voice?" Me? Pfft. No. No, Dad. I just... Shut up. Just kidding. Thank you. Not only is the universe stranger than we think, it is stranger than we can think. Werner Heisenberg, Across the Frontiers. Yeah, I like hearing, what's his name? Fucking Sigma from Overwatch, man. He's like, the universe owes you no explanation. What does he say? Fuck. I need to look it up. Sigma, the universe, no, owes you no yeah, I don't fucking know. One of these things. Oh, I guess it's from Neil deGrasse Tyson. The universe is under no obligation to make sense to you. Yeah, they must have stole that from him, which is hilarious. Okay. Sorry. I got a message from Slaptam. And because I had sent him a spooky video, he's like, "Oh yeah, we already played that, dum-dum." Just kidding. Mike Hunt's Wild Ride with the 5 says, "I'm Oscar Schindler." Well, hello, Mr. Schindler. How are you? Who do I mate in Overwatch? I don't know. It pisses me off because I used to be really good as Hanzo. And then I kind of like stopped playing him to like play other heroes because he just doesn't kill. He can kill people really well if you're really good. But if you're having an off day, the shitty thing about Hanzo, in a similar fashion to like fucking Widowmaker, is that like, and not as bad as Widowmaker, but if you're just like overwhelmed or having a off day, you just like can't output as much damage as you consistently need to, you know what I mean? And so, but I don't know, I played Hanzo the past couple of days, and sometimes I get some headshots, some dinks, and you can carry the team, but it's like a lot of the time you're just like not hitting your shots the same way that you could with like McCree or fucking Soldier, or, you know, even, but like I do like McCree, but Soldier, and I do like Soldier, but a Soldier can be kind of like derivative and boring, you know. Doesn't give you that dopamine rush when you get the dinks. Joel beat me in the headshot. That headshot match was so weird. I don't know what it was, but I couldn't do that anymore. This was evidenced by the fact that his vehicle was indeed still parked in the complex's parking lot. The police then discovered that the night before he disappeared, Craig slept at his friend Matthew Hollop's house. The pair had been friends since their final years of elementary school when they were co-captains of their high school soccer team. Matthew told the investigating officers that Craig was deeply upset and depressed regarding the breakup with his long-term girlfriend, but also told them that he had not even remotely hinted that he planned to run away or hurt himself, that doing so would be extremely out of character. The police then intensively searched the area where Craig was supposedly last seen, finding that there were numerous railroad tracks in the area. This was initially deeply concerning, but their search yielded nothing in terms of body parts or evidence that he had used a speeding train to end his own life. The wooded area also had numerous paths that connected Cambridge Manor with Craig's family home in the Yorkshire Court cul-de-sac, which was only a short distance away. Two middle school students who also used the woodland paths to get to and from school also said that they saw someone walking near the rain tracks. Fuck. Huevos. Huevos splash, you sexy motherfucker. Mathematics expresses values that reflect the cosmos, including orderliness, balance, harmony, logic, and abstract beauty. Deepak Chopra. I agree, but it makes me wonder too, like, it seems as if though the universe and all of its orderliness also has a strange sense of chaos to it as well, and it almost makes you wonder if math could, if you could find order in the chaos, you know what I mean? Like, to the point, what if there was like some strange, consistent algorithm that could be used to determine the presence of chaos in certain areas? Like, that would, I mean, I guess math has been used to model a lot of like weird things. I don't know exactly what I'm specifically talking about as far as modeling chaos, but what if there was some sort of like overarching, like, chaotic mathematical model that was consistent across all chaotic presentations? What the fuck am I talking about? I don't even know. The measure of intelligence is the ability to change. I think that's what annoys me, though, is that Einstein said that. I guess you put that as the quote there, but it seems like people are like terrified to ever question whether or not everything Einstein said wasn't gospel. You know what I mean? Like, as if though they're like afraid to either build upon what he said or maybe question whether or not, you know, the sort of space-time concepts and theories may not be entirely encompassing of what we consider reality sometimes. Mike Hunt's Wild Ride with the 5 says, have you ever experienced a real paranormal event? I have a few. What have you experienced, Mr. Mike? I've had some like sleep paralysis stuff and some weird stuff like that, but nothing too cray-cray. Oh, but I did on well, sadly, recently, if you guys recall, my buddy's mother passed away, and he had told me about how he watched their door kind of like rattle. Their front door was rattling in a really strange way near their front door, and then one of the flower pots that they had from that someone left got thrown off of the mantle, and then they watched the cat's eyes as the cat like watched something walk up to like the one step landing and then up the remaining steps up to the top of the top floor. And then I fucking found, whenever I was overlooking at all of his pictures and stuff, in his living room, he has like a picture when he did some modeling and shit like that, and I was just looking at it, and we're like, what the fuck happened to this picture, bro? And the picture literally had a fucking, like, you know, the glass had like an X in it, like cracked like an X directly across him. It was so fucking weird. And then he freaked out because he's like, dude, I was just fucking looking at this picture earlier in the day because, you know, his mother's ashes or something were placed in that general vicinity. So he was just kind of like pondering the past or something of that nature. And like, and then we went over there to investigate, and fucking his picture was like cracked. I don't know. It was weird. It was weird as fuck. Okami Bree with the 2. Thank you, Okami. Thank you. Smooches and kisses. Say Mike Hunt 3 times fast. I can't. You guys are tricking me. My little innocent brain. Joel probably likes killer clown girls. I could, I guess. I guess if they're funny and their nose goes honk honk. What do I think sleep paralysis is? Well, I find it very strange that like a lot of like people within the sort of psychological realm think that sleep paralysis is just a manifestation of, you know, certain activity within our brain, perhaps like REM cycle translating to waking consciousness. But I'm just like, so you're fucking telling me that there's some sort of evolutionary adaptation that when we fucking sleep and semi awake from it and end up in a paralyzed state, that all of us, as we have like consistently across those who experience that phenomenon, all also consistently see and or hear or hallucinate like demonic fucking creatures, you know what I mean? Or feel like a weight on their chest. Like, it's like so hyper specific, you know what I mean? Like, why is it always scary shit? Why don't you, like, maybe I'm wrong, maybe some people who have sleep paralysis see beautiful angels or, you know, pretty butterflies or some shit like that, but it doesn't seem like it. Doesn't fucking seem like it, anecdotally speaking. And yodely speaking, yodelay hoo. And from Mike Hunt's Wild Ride with the 10 bucker, and he says, I've seen a shadow at an old fort. I've had something thrown at me. I've been scratched, and your friend has a demonic attachment. Something snuck in during grief. Dude, that's what I was saying, dude. He thought it was his fucking mom, but I'm like, dude, there's no way. Like, maybe your mom appeared, you know, at some point, or was like present to like say goodbye, or, you know what I mean? I'm just speculating. I don't know what I don't know anything about anything, but like, I thought that I was like, his fucking dad and him and everybody are probably so fucking sad right now, you know what I mean? Because it was a very untimely death, and I'm like, there's something was attracted to this, you know, and which is really weird shit. But thank you for the 10. And Micah Washington with the $9 says, hi, my Joel. Sorry, I'm hella broke due to Christmas, but I wanted to say thanks for turning me on to Hunt a Killer / Blair Witch. I got first box and love it. Nice. Micah, that is so cool. I'm actually really, really happy that you like it. It seems like, you know, there's going to be a ton more coming out, and they're a lot of fun. So I'm stoked that you're, hopefully you get to do that with friends or by yourself or whatever, you know, whatever you're up to. But thank you for the 9. And yeah, I feel you. Christmas came out of nowhere. When the fuck did that? Is it always in December? Mike Hunt's Wild Ride with the 5 says, when you sleep, you're paralyzed, so you don't act out your dream. You seeing scary stuff is panic. I guess. So, like, you're saying the chemical or whatever action that's occurring within your brain that's causing the paralysis, and then the sudden awareness that you're paralyzed then activates the sort of, you know, hypothetical subdivision within your brain that also generates panicked dreams or visuals and stuff, or like that, because most people always panic, they always see something negative, which I guess makes a little bit of sense. But it's just it's one of those things where it just like rides the line, you know what I mean, of like, like, I don't want to say it's pseudoscience or anything like that, but it rides that weird line of like the paranormal and the explainable, which is cool. I like shit like that, you know. John F. Kennedy, you are a great American. Thank you. I've done my best, John. I've eaten cheeseburgers and paid my taxes, regrettably. That's when you are in REM sleep. You can't stand in your dreams or run. Yeah. I've had dreams where I like pee in my dreams, and I when I wake up, I get so fucking worried that I piss my pants, and I don't pee my, like, I literally feel the relief in my dream, and then when I wake up, there's no urine there, so I'm assuming maybe my roommate smelled it in the middle of the night, and he came over and rolled me and changed the bed sheets before I woke up so that I wouldn't be embarrassed, which I appreciate him doing that. Or maybe it's just a strange dream sensation. Anna with 100 kroners. Thank you, Anna. Thank you. Is that from Sweden or? Yeah, Swedish kroners, right? Where am I from? I'm from Pennsylvania. When your grandpa passed, both my parents woke up in the middle of the night and they felt someone touching the blanket in their legs. Super creepy and always made me wonder, how can it be hallucinated? You know, whenever someone passes, I honestly think that there is a period of time, you know, where they're actually, depending on, you know, I don't really know exactly because I don't know like the ins and outs of the spiritual world, but I'm, you know, just from anecdotal reading of these stories and stuff, I honestly think there's a period of time, like a little bit of a window prior to them moving on to the next realm or wherever it is, that they are permitted to say goodbye to people and shit like that, or like, you know, comfort them to a degree, you know. And I think that could be what your parents experienced with your grandpapa. And Micah with the Force says, I used your 20% discount nerding out by myself. Nice. That's awesome. It looks like a lot of fun. I you know, especially this new one, the there was like the newer one coming out, but which I want to try. But there's, you know, I'm pretty stoked to say I also have we have secured the bag of Shudder for six more Shudder sponsorships in 2021. So y'all's can look forward to that. It's gonna be cool. Teach me how I never get to pee in a dream, great roommate. Just let it loose, you know? Just let it go. Should do a video on Bailey Sarian. Who's that? Most of the time I don't see anything, but one time a terrifying black shadow grew to 6 feet tall right next to me. I've never gotten so many goosebumps in my whole life. Yeah, it's fucking spooky. And that's also like lends itself to the theory that I have where like your dream world, where your consciousness goes when you sleep, or, you know, in the scientific realm, like the activation of your mind as it repairs itself or repairs the body and that kind of thing. I think to a degree, or at least I just have a theory within the metaphysical, that like there's some sort of crossing over, you know what I mean, of there's some sort of crossing over between the dream realm and the spiritual realm, you know what I mean. Logan says, I was on a ghost tour and I saw a shadow shaped like a human. It reached out and faded away. Oh, that's creepy as hell. Yeah. Yeah, reading those ghost stories, like, I don't know if you guys could tell, like, it wasn't quite as successful as most videos are, but I kind of anticipated that. But I do appreciate you guys watching the ghost stories and stuff. It does help the channel to, like, for YouTube to see that you guys like all the content. And I probably will do ghost stories like once a month because they're not as popular as the other stuff. But yeah, I mean, honestly, some of the experiences people have with the paranormal is fucking, that would mess with me, I think. That would honestly really mess with me. Mike Hunt's Wild Ride with the 5 says, during sleep paralysis, I feel and see being drugged off my bed by extremely evil being. Yikes. That's honestly terrifying. By crossing over, do I mean an overlap? I think so. Like, within the dream realm, like, it's almost like you're existing with, like, I don't know, like, I've heard people theorize that, like, within the spiritual realm, there are, like, lots of different realms, you know what I mean? Like there's some, maybe there's, like, heaven, maybe there's a hell, maybe there's something in between, maybe there's, like, almost like they talk about, like, a television, like, whenever you change the channel on a TV, you're changing the frequency to something else, and it's like they're all overlapped on top of each other, and you just so happen to exist within your dream realm, within this realm at that time. And I feel like that realm that you exist in is sort of an overlapping of your consciousness and the reality that, you know, spiritual beings might exist in. Oh shit! Oh fuck! What about the twerk realm, Joel? What about the twerk realm? I'll show you. Reg with the big 50 Australian dollars says, I don't have anything to say, really just feeling generous, and I'd rather you have my money. Well, thank you, Reg. Thank you so much for your generosity. Seriously, that is amazing. I really appreciate that. Getting my booty cheeks nice and revved up there. Yeah. Thank you. Hope everything's going well down under. I guess, what is it? Is it like 12 hours from the United States to Australia? Aliens are here. They are interdimensional. Believe me, all of the weird sides of YouTube, I have been there and back 1,000 times. I've listened to podcasts and ideas and people interviewed, and I don't know, like, sometimes I just feel like everything is like an amalgamation of whatever reality we decide it is, and I think it's all absolutely possible with the power of slime. Introducing Slime, brought to you by Nickelodeon. Do a slime commercial out of nowhere. Steve Bonk with the 5 says, I love ghost stories and click right away when they're posted. Nice, thank you, Steve. I find them fascinating, personally, and I think I would like to do more of them. Even next time I'll do specific ones, like, or if I can even come across them. It's sometimes easier to do generalized paranormal stuff, but I think it would be fun to do skinwalkers and stuff like that. But thank you, Steve, and thank you again, Reg. Really appreciate you guys, all your generosity, guys. It's awesome. The twerk realm is the best realm, yes. Me and Nicki Minaj hold it down, baby. Oh yeah. 2 middle school students who also used the woodland paths to get to and from school also said they saw someone walking near the train tracks on the day in question, but whether or not this was Craig is almost impossible to know for certain. The area was searched numerous times by hundreds of different people, including professional law enforcement as well as unpaid civilian volunteers. Sniffer dogs were also used, but despite their great effectiveness in cases like Craig's, no serious evidence or clues were found. Similar searches of the nearby Mohawk River turned up nothing, leaving authorities completely stumped and leaving his family with no answers to the questions that plagued them. Police then appealed to the general public for information on Craig's potential whereabouts. The public was given a detailed description, one that stated how Craig was Caucasian, standing around 5'11", weighing about 190 pounds, with red hair, brown eyes, and dimples. He apparently sometimes wore a goatee and was wearing a white short-sleeved t-shirt, blue jeans or jean shorts, white Adidas sneakers with 3 black stripes, and a gold chain with a St. Christopher medal at the time that he went missing. Almost 100 members of the New York State Police, both investigators and troopers, have been involved in the case over the years. The local Scotia Police investigated the case for around 2 years before increasing complexities forced them... Sorry, that sounded weird. should do voice acting. I should. Honestly, I am kind of on the edge right now, and it's just hypothetical. It's just hypothetical, but I'm like in the mood, you know? Like today, I got my fucking car stuck in the snow for like, not from driving, but just in my own driveway. You know, I thought I shoveled enough out of the way. And then I go to back up, and then it got caught on some like, you know, condensed snow, ice, and it couldn't catch traction. And all of a sudden my like car like kind of started tilting to the side, and then it got like caught in more snow that was off the edge of the driveway. And then what turned into me just wanting to go get some fucking coffee turned into an hour of just like digging myself out of this hole that I put myself in. Metaphor for life. And just annoying as fuck. And I'm like, man, this wouldn't happen if I just like lived in fucking Texas or something, you know? And Texas seems pretty cool. I don't know if anybody here is from Texas, but it seems like a pretty neat, very lot of options kind of state, you know? Oh, it's all good about the snow. Hey, Mr. Extremes, what's up, dude? It's good to see you. What's crack-a-lackin', homie G? I miss you, honestly. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to Mr. Extremes yet, you do not know what you're missing out on. He is God tier amongst the God tiers. Fish says, when the fox hears the rabbit scream, he comes running, but not to help. That's scary. I think that almost happened to me today. I was screaming in my yard related to the snow, and a weird man showed up, and he was sad when he could tell I wasn't 10 years old. Suddy with the 5 says, appreciate you for all your hard work you put in, and that offer still stands from Twitter. Wait, what happened with Twitter? I forgot our offer. Was that from a while ago? I have old-timers disease, so I forget. Yeah, guys, go sub to Mr. Extremes. He deserves it, honestly. Still gotta love that southern hospitality. Yeah, honestly, I would like to just try the food down in Texas too, you know. I remember all the food I had down in the South was just like, I'm like, now I understand why obesity is so rampant. How the fuck can you not love this shit? It was like 75 degrees in San Antonio. Nice. I mean, as long as I didn't live anywhere where there was like hurricanes or tornadoes. I don't know. Where's the best weather in Texas? The absolute bestest and safest. Where's it safe? I don't want to get swallowed up by a hurricane full of cartel members. The local Scotia police investigated the case for around 2 years before increasing complexities forced them to turn it over to the state police in 2006. Investigator Gloria Coppola led the case until her 2015 retirement, which is when Detective Kevin Noto took over. Anytime you have a missing person case, until you find the person, you can't say the circumstances of the disappearance, State Police Major Crimes Investigator Kevin Noto said to journalists following Craig's disappearance. This is one where we are keeping our options open. People may have information they don't think is important, but oftentimes it is the little things in these cases that are the keys that open up that door, Noto said, adding that other people may have told police something early on in the investigation, but it's possible the tip was never passed on to the right person. Until you have something to work off of, fuck, dude, I messed that up. It's like adding that other people may have told police something early in the investigation. It was until you have something to work off, you really don't know what kind of case you're working with. Oh, I see. Also, I thought of a cool thing for a movie. Like, you know how movies hide like symbolism and shit like that? You know, that stupid shit. I was thinking, I heard today that like in the world of like spells, I don't know if anybody here is a wizard or Harry, but any Harry Potters here? But basically, in the world of like magical spells or like the stuff that people, I don't know if it's true or not, but the stuff that they're into, um, like multiplying something by 3 is like their magic, is like the magic number to make it happen or whatever, to make it the most powerful or some shit. And that's why, and this is kind of idiotic, but that's why when you're like, you like knock on a door, you knock on it like 3 times, to elicit the response from the other side or whatever. This is kind of getting out there, but stick with me. Basically, it's not that I believe in it or anything like that, but I was thinking it would be cool if you're making a movie about like strange, demonic, weird shit. You put like an emphasis in a scene on like say like some really weirdo lives in like a house, they're the one that does all the spells and creepy shit, or they're just one of the sus characters, and then it like emphasizes a close-up on the main character like knocking 3 times on the front door, and then all of a sudden, like the crazy guy who lives in the house, who is like physically the manifestation of the behind the scenes demon, or whatever, like, or the monster of the film, opens up, and it's sort of like a parallel directly to that of like knocking on 3 times to the spiritual world's door and opening up a portal to that or something like that. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but you get the idea. Like it would be a cool little like symbolism parallel, and I'm sure some people would notice it, like those who like digest every like movie scene. They're like, oh, here you can see they did a close-up on the knocking of the door, and what that means here we went back to some of his old streams and he reveals it here. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but I'm getting ahead of myself, I guess. Adding that other people may have told police something early on in the investigation, but it's possible the tip was never passed on to the right person. Until you have something to work off of, you really don't know what kind of case you're dealing with. In some ways, missing person cases can be more difficult than a cold case homicide, because with a homicide, you know what kind of case you're working, Noto said. On the 15th anniversary of Craig's disappearance, just shy of what would have been his 30th birthday, his mother spoke to local journalists in a rare interview, during which she asked for privacy to be allowed to grieve in peace. All the time I think about it. What would he be doing? She said. The worst part is, for all of us, for his family, is we just miss him horribly. But the worst thing is knowing that there is somebody out there who knows what happened to my son, and I'm on my knees, hoping, praying there's someone out there who can help us understand what happened to my boy. Around the same time of the 15th anniversary, a group of concerned citizens from the Scotia and Glenville areas got together to organize a candlelit vigil to commemorate a tragedy that affected each and every one of them. It was partly organized in the hopes that their efforts would jog the memories of those who may have seen or heard anything around the time that Craig went missing, those who might come forward to the police with information, no matter how vague or unhelpful they might deem it to be. In cases like these, it seems even the most unlikely leads have the potential to reduce. Mr. Extremes. Yeah, no, it would be sweet to do some cool stuff. I feel like I always have like really out of context ideas for like movies, but when it comes to like piecing together a really cohesive story, I don't know, how do people write stories, you know what I mean? Like, don't you have to create, like, the way I would do it, I feel like I would have to create, like, a skeleton, of the story, like, just general ideas of where things are going to go, and then piece in the details later on and all that, the nitty-gritty kind of stuff. But have you, Mr. Extremes, ever hidden any sort of hidden messaging in your videos or anything like that? What's my Hogwarts house? I guess Pickle Bean. Is Pickle Bean one? It sounds like one. Nobody owns life, but anyone who can pick up a frying pan owns death. Dude, I can't pick up a frying pan worth shit. Griffin says, I have a theory that superstition is actually just mankind's struggle with OCD. Oh? Yeah, I guess that makes some sense. Yeah, shit. Sometimes you wonder, like, if everything is just a manifestation of, like, our, you know, chemical reactions within our physical body, you know. Sometimes we kind of, like, draw the line between the poetic, spiritual, and the physical. Lila says Hufflepuff all the way. I think Pickle Bean is way better, honestly. Fuck Hufflepuff, alright, Lila? Fuck Hufflepuff. Come at me, bro. No, I'm just kidding. Mr. Dream said, I used to do that a little bit, running themes like code words, etc. Lots of fun. Oh shit, dude, we need to break the code of Mr. X Dreams. They just broke the Zodiac Killer's code. Now we're moving on. Mr. X Dreams has left it right in plain sight, everyone. Right in plain sight. Get to cracking. In cases like these, it seems even the most unlikely leads have the potential to produce results. It seems unlikely that Craig will ever be found. Investigating police have conducted almost 70 different search efforts over the years in an attempt to find any trash of human remains. Trash? That sounded weird. Any trash of human remains. Investigating police have conducted almost 70 different search efforts over the years in an attempt to find any trace of human remains, clothes, or his belongings. These searches are usually conducted in spring or late fall when there's at least... Oh, fart on my face, dude. It's like I get so far. I get so far, and I shit my pants. In the end... it gets really stinky. Lila with the two says, why are you mean to me? Also roast me, please. Well, first off, Ben Roethlisberger is a terrible WWE member. And he wears a little Michael Jackson glove on his one hand. I don't really know. All I know is that you love footy ball. You love footy ball. The tragedy is not to die, but to be wasted. Wasted. Like in Grand Theft Auto. Doesn't it say wasted when it comes? Wasted. Brittany wants to be boxed. Would you like to be a present, Brittany? Hand it out to good little kids. These searches are usually conducted in spring or late fall when there is the least amount of snow or fallen leaf litter on the ground. Police have also frequently used sniffer dogs and their handlers out on foot patrols. Their goal is to search the route Craig would have taken back to his parents' house in the woods behind Cambridge Manor. Forensic divers and other nautical technicians have also been used to examine local streams, lakes, and rivers, but these searches have also turned out to be fruitless. Pete Irizzo. How the hell do you say this shit? Irizzo. Probably Irizzo. Copy. Also, Mr. Extreme, did you ever use the website Forvo, Forvo.com? It's pretty sweet because, well, it didn't work right now. I'm really selling it, but basically it's kind of like crowdsourced pronunciation where sometimes you can't find a word or how to pronounce it, and usually, you know, dictionary.com or whatever has a pronunciation, but some of the more specific things like last names or places that haven't been, very prevalent on bigger websites you can find on there. And this one I did not find, so that sucks. Hey, listen, says Cheyenne Dory Bob with the 5. Says, absolutely love these types of stories and look forward to them. Thank you. Hope everyone is well. Taco Taco. Thank you for the tacos, Cheyenne. Am I pronouncing that right? Cheyenne? I guess I've been saying that forever, and you probably don't even question it now. But thank you for the 5. Thank you. Have you seen the Purge movies? And if you did, how were they? I watched one, but it's like it's kind of like how all of the, like, I think the first one was a cool idea, but like as they went on, they just like kind of got cringy, which is usually how a lot of like horror movies kind of go, where they just gotta like up the ante even more with the same idea. I guess the same way that like Wishmaster or what are those ones with? Oh fuck, what is it? There's like remember Wishmaster, and then what's that one where like the creepy demons like come through that puzzle thing, and he has like spikes in his face. I fucking forget what that is, but basically it just like get weirder and weirder as time goes on, and that's kind of how I felt with those movies. Lila with the 3 says, Joel is stinky boy. This is very true. There are many aspects of my body that sometimes release a bit of an odor, and they can only be alleviated by scrubbing and body wash. Pronounce. How to pronounce Irizo? Oh wait, do we have it?
Iorizo.
That's not right. Hellraiser, thank you. Jumanji. Kind of like Jumanji, honestly, because it's like an old relic that like summons some scary bullshit. But yeah, Jumanji was fucking cool. Dude, also, I got a big gripe. Lazy Masquerade impression. I've got a big fucking gripe with Hollywood. You listen to Hollywood? You on the line? You a subscriber? Because listen up. You're fucking up literally everything. Okay, so we've all known this forever, that like video game movies are usually dog shit, right? Like the way that I describe Hollywood's adaptation of literally any video game movie is as if, that's a tough one to say, is as if you have like a dad who sees their kid plays Mario every fucking day of his life, but he's never actually taken like 5 minutes out of his day to actually observe what Mario is, what the story is, how it even plays, how any of it cohesively works together, or any of the general concepts. They just see like some dude with suspenders, jumping and getting mushrooms, and they're just like, and they're also a Hollywood producer at the same time, and then they're just like, it seems like my kid really likes this Mario Brothers shit. Let's do that. And they're like, what's it about? And they're like, fucking no, mushrooms or some shit, and you just run around and and then you end up getting the complete absolute garbage mess that was the Super Mario Brothers like real life movie from the 90s, which apparently was actually more just a money laundering scheme than an actual movie. But basically that's like every fucking like literally every fucking Hollywood movie adaptation is just like this. I don't know if it's from the same studio, but it's always just this like really strange thing where like they have to be from, it can't just fucking take place. It can't just take place within the realm of Mario Town, like every Mario video game where you're at the king's castle. I actually sound like the fucking producer doesn't know anything about the game, but it's taking place within Mario Town, and it doesn't have to go to like New York or fucking LA or anything, and then like then a guy who happens to be named Mario is transposed into the fucking realm of Mushroomville. Like, you don't have to do that unless there's some like legal bullshit that I'm missing. If you remember the Sonic movie that came out recently, what the fuck was that? Aside from the fact that Sonic, the first iteration that they did looked insane, looked like an actual like kid drew it, but it was like Sonic came from his realm into, like, he came from the exciting realm into our boring ass, like, you know, New York City realm, or wherever he was, like Arizona or some shit. Wherever, like, essentially, like, allowed them to save as much money as fucking possible, you know, for movie sets and stuff. And then was just a 3D animation nightmare the entire time. And then in a similar fashion, I'm seeing a new fucking Monster Hunter movie coming out. Have you guys seen this? The fucking Monster Hunter movie? Like, if you played Monster Hunter, I was never like a huge like Monster Hunter person, but like I've observed it. I played one of the more recent ones, and it's a good game, you know, and it's basically fucking anime. You know, it's basically it's a big anime in a video game where you're on some island, there's some big monsters, and you fight and hunt them and blah blah blah. But this game, like, it's like it's always produced by the same fucking studio, like the one who has access to the fake, like, you know, U.S. Marines Humvee with the 50 cal in the back and the tough guy, and, you know, very minimalistic desert backdrop. And they're essentially, the whole movie is they get transposed from, you know, L.A., New York land in the desert to another fucking desert, which is, I guess, Monster Town in Monster Hunter. And it just has nothing to fucking do with the actual source. Like, just stick to the source. Why does everything have to be a fucking game of telephone with Hollywood? It's like, and they always fail. It always fails in the box office. It makes, you know, it's like cost them like 10 million to make, and they make like $50 because, you know, someone was bored and they got real high from, you know, putting weed in an apple, and then they ate the apple, and they're like, well, I meant to go see fucking Wolf of Wall Street, but I guess I accidentally walked into fucking Monster Hunter 5 times. Whoopsie daisy. But somehow that's enough funding for them to, they never get the picture. They never figure it out. Hollywood is just so wildly disconnected from reality. It's actually painful. It's actually painful to observe. I don't even know. Lila, thank you for the 3. Says, no cussing, my dad came downstairs. Yo, dad. Suck my fingers, bro. Thank you for the 3, Lila. And Flux Magic with the 5 says, whip that thing out, boy. JK Joel, you're a badass. Thanks for the laughs and stories. Thank you, Flux. What am I whipping out? My belly button? Your side chick is from Hollywood, JFK. Same here. My side chick is Hollywood. Route Terror with the $2 says, Fave N64 game. Still owe one, and I'll still own one and still play it. Nice. What was a really good one? I mean, obviously I played Mario 64 a lot, but I remember I really liked there was this, what was it, like Body Harvest or some shit like that? Body Harvest video game. Wasn't it like a bunch of bugs and shit? No, there was one where you like killed a bunch of bugs. Bug killing game N64. Yeah, Body Harvest. Not A Bug's Life. I think it was Body Harvest. I thought that one was really impressive because like the movement was like this really cool, like 360-degree movement, but like the aiming was really awkward. But I just remember like shooting the bugs was really satisfying. Like their heads would pop off and be like, Blah. Alright, I need to figure out how to say this mofo's name. When's my birthday? It's June 4th. Pete Arizzo. I'm just going to say Arizzo. Oh, Jet Force Gemini. That's it, bro. Thank you so much. I knew that. Yeah, and GoldenEye was... Oh, GoldenEye. Holy fuck. GoldenEye was so fucking good. I used to... my brother... Like, basically, I didn't know how to... I didn't know how to fucking, like, play video games until I was, like, older, which is kind of embarrassing. Like, I didn't know how to, like, beat video games until middle school. I always just kind of assumed you just fiddled around in them and never actually completed any of the story. But my brother had already beat GoldenEye. He was, like, 10 years older than me. I think he still is. And, you know, he had the cheat codes unlocked, and basically I would just fucking put on the cheat codes for invincibility, every weapon, unlimited ammo, and just go into that one level where remember the one level where you're in a cage, you're in a fucking jail cell, and then you have to get the key, open up the jail cell, and then fight your way out. But I fucking love that that game where I would just like kill waves of enemies and stuff. And then because they also like the place that we were supposed to exit to like finish the level, more enemies would just continue to spawn out of there. So I would just like sit there for hours and just like kill them as they came in. And there was a lot of like shit that I did as a kid when playing video games that was just individualistically very lonely, but also interesting at the same time. Pete Irizzo, the former sports editor for the regional news publication The Times-Union, who was responsible for researching and writing about Freer's disappearance for many years, said the story had an indelible effect on him. He later recalled that when he first heard of Craig's mysterious disappearance, he thought, wow, how does a popular 17-year-old, a soon-to-be captain of his soccer team, just up and disappear from the face of the earth? The incident has affected Pete so much that every time he and his wife drive through the Scotia area, Craig's disappearance is one of the first things they think of. The idea of how someone could simply vanish without a trace is something that haunts him, even to this day. Pete is now the spokesperson for the University of Albany athletics program, having moved on from journalism entirely, but since he now has 2 young children, he lives in almost constant fear that they too could suffer a similar fate, and that he would also be left with a legion of unanswered questions. You can't imagine not knowing where your child is for 5 minutes, but 15 years not knowing? Pete said in a recent interview with his former employers. The article is quick to note that Pete sounded genuinely disturbed and distressed when tacoing about the case. Asparagus is delicious. The only bad thing with asparagus is that it's kind of it's like a little bit hard to cut sometimes, And I would love to meet someone who could make asparagus just like when you bite into it, you don't really need to like use all your full force to bite into it, as far as to like break it into smaller bits, but like something if someone could figure out a method to cook it that just almost makes it like melt in your mouth, that would be fucking cool. Because sometimes asparagus is a little bit of a pain in the ass. The article is quick to note that Pete sounded genuinely disturbed and distressed when talking about the case. Freer's social security number has not been used since his disappearance, indicating that he has not paid taxes, opened a bank account, or applied for a job in the United States. This led us to believe that either he has managed to fake an entirely new identity, which would prove extremely difficult and time-consuming, or or more likely that he is deceased, which raises the question, what would exactly have killed Craig that day, and for what reason? It seems that there are 2 very likely explanations that have been completely neglected by investigating police. The first being that Craig was murdered by his ex-girlfriend, who pursued him through the woods before attacking him, possibly with a firearm, before somehow disposing of his body in such an effective way that the police would have been unable to find it. Yet there are a few serious holes in this theory, the first being that Craig was something of a big guy and did a lot of training as part of his high school soccer program. Not only would he have been difficult to overpower or chase after, but moving and disposing of his body without leaving any DNA or forensic traces would be near impossible for his girlfriend, who wasn't nearly as tall or strong as she would have needed to be to perform such a feat. However, if there was another man in her life, one that was I feel like they're just kind of taking wild guesses at this shit. You don't burn food. Thank you, Athena. Yeah, that was a bit chaotic earlier. Holy shit. You don't burn food and then turn the power off to the house to like reset everything. I turned the fire on and off again. I don't understand. However, if there was another man in her life, one that was supremely and violently jealous of Craig, there could well be a chance that it was this person that took it upon themselves to remove Craig from the picture. There could well be a chance that this was on the orders of Craig's ex-girlfriend herself, that she planted the idea in her new a beau? What the fuck is a beau? The fuck is a beau? Beau. A boyfriend or male admirer. I'll just say boyfriend. Beau seems fucking extra. Who the fuck's even gonna know what a beau is? There could well be a chance that this was on the orders of Craig's ex-girlfriend herself, that she planted the idea in her new boyfriend's head to get rid of the guy that was bothering her so much. But as it stands, these ideas are pure speculation, even if they are the most likely, given that the ex-girlfriend was the last person Craig visited before he disappeared. Craig may have simply vanished from the face of the earth, but there simply must be remnants that remain behind, no matter how difficult these are to find. Whether or not great scrutiny of his ex-girlfriend is required in order to find them is perhaps the most pertinent question we are left with. The fact remains that the final act on his earth, it seems, was for Craig to go and visit her, so it seems obvious that the key to finding him lies with her. Relationships turn sour, go wrong, and fall apart all the time, but very few end in a death or disappearance. There could be no way Craig could possibly have known that visiting his ex that day would have resulted in the end of his life, but again, the fact remains that on this occasion, for this young man, a visit to an ex proved to be as deadly as it was unwise. What do you guys think? I feel like he took his own life. That's honestly, I don't know. Beau, it's pronounced bow? Okay, the bow.
Bow.
Oh, okay. Well, good thing I didn't pronounce it. It looks like beautiful, so it's like beau meaning beautiful or bountiful in France language. France language. IJ, I talked with the Tuesdays last super chat limit. I'm drunk as hell. Good night, Joe. Good night, Jay. Stay safe, my dude. Drink some Wawa. Do I have a twin? I do not have a twin. Well, besides the one that I absorbed in the womb. Took his powers. I feel like I don't know, like, if he got murdered, like, I don't know, just wandering into the woods. If he wandered into the woods and he was depressed, like, you know, I feel like he had to have killed himself, you know what I mean? But just, like, done it in such a way that was, like, premeditated, or who knows, maybe he fucking not only wandered in the woods, he just kept fucking going. Or maybe he died. Where was that again? In fucking 17-year-old Craig. Was Cambridge Manor in Scotia, New York. I mean, that upstate New York shit. I mean, that's going into Canada, and it's cold. You know, like, those woods back there are fucking massive. That's where Sasquatch hides. You know what I mean? So if a kid wants to, like, just wander out and die in the woods, it's possible that they never find him, which sucks. Spontaneous combustion is also a possibility. Skinwalker done did it. I know, that's what I've been saying. Alrighty, let us continue to to the last story of the night, also long as fuck. Holy shit. The saddest aspect of life right now is the science gathers knowledge faster than society gathers wisdom. Maybe. On July 28, 1977, Travis Victor Alexander was born in Riverside, California, the son of Gary and Pamela Alexander. Travis's early years were marred by tragedy. At age 11, an unstable and ultimately toxic home life meant that Travis would be forced to go and live with his paternal grandparents. And after his father's tragic death in mid-1990s, And after his father's tragic death in mid-1997, he was followed by his 7 brothers and sisters. Despite his rough upbringing, Travis performed rather well in school, attending college and eventually getting a job with a company known as Prepaid Legal Services as a salesman, and later as the company's motivational speaker, a position that paid considerably better. As part of his job at PPL, Travis would often attend conferences that often took place in Las Vegas, playing his trade as plying his trade or playing his trade. I don't know that phrase because they wrote plying. A position that paid considerably part. Okay. As part of his job at PPL, Travis would often attend conferences that took place in Las Vegas, plying his trade as a motivational speaker in front of audiences of hundreds. During one such conference in September of 2006, there was one particular woman in the audience who was enraptured by Travis's charisma and his talent for public speaking. She approached him afterwards, introducing herself and striking up a conversation that would spark off a long-term friendship. This woman's name was Jodi Arias. Wait a fucking second. Dude, didn't someone in the beginning of this motherfucking video, the stream, tell me that I should cover Jodi Arias? No fucking way, dude. That's like super coincidental. That's funny. Maybe that's who submitted this. Yeah, let me see how you pronounce this shit, because I'm not sure if is it Eris? T-Sky showered and came back. Good, welcome back. Nice and clean, fresh.
Arias.
Arias? How do you guys know how to say it? Oh, Arias? Arias. Arias, okay. So I'm going to say it right now. Jodi Arias, right? Jodi. The last podcast on the left, dudes did that story of Jodi, and it was good. Nice. Well, welcome to the first podcast in your butt, featuring Let's Read. Arias, okay. Arias. I'm just going to say Arias. Arias. Thank you, Diesel. Arias. Jodi Arias. Alright, fuck it, let's go. Actually, let me just look up how someone else.
Imanol Arias.
Arias. Arias. It's so hard to say. Arias. Like, I can't do it. Arias. Arias. Jodi Arias. Arigato. This woman's name was Jodi Arias. Jody Ann Arias was born on July 9th, 1980, in Salinas, California, to a mother of European ancestry and a father of Mexican ancestry. After she met Travis at the PPL conference, the pair grew increasingly close, which led to Jody converting to Mormonism just 2 months later, actually being baptized by Travis himself at a ceremony that took place in Southern California. Despite the distance between them, the pair then began dating a few months later, and Jody even took the steps to move to Mesa. Probably Mesa. Arias. Does ranch dressing grow on a ranch? I think that's what ranchers do all day, is just harvest it. Harvest the cream. The creamy goodness. We need the dressing. That's what they, I think they used, or that was like their job in Brokeback Mountain, was to harvest ranch dressing from each other. I'm not absolutely certain, though. I didn't see the movie. Despite the distance between them, the pair then began dating a few months later, and Jody even took steps to move to Mesa and then to Eureka. Is it Eureka? Motherfucker.
Wairika.
Wairika? It's Wairika? I've heard of Eureka, California, but there's a Wairika? Oh my god. Wairika, California. It is Wairika. Interesting. But why, Rika? Why? Mesa and Wairika, California. Okay. Holy shit. Okay. Despite the distance between them, the pair then began dating a few months later, and Jody even took the steps to move to Mesa and then Wairika, California, living in her grandparents' place so she could be closer to Travis. Travis and Jody had a tumultuous, on and off again relationship for almost a year and a half, often forced to maintain a long-distance relationship due to the fact that one of them lived in Arizona, while the other had to remain in California for work. This kind of distance would put a strain on any relationship, but it appeared there were other factors at work that made Jody and Travis's relationship less than healthy. From the very first time that Travis introduced Jody to his close friends, they seemed to take an instant dislike to her. Jody didn't seem in the least bit keen to impress or integrate herself to them. Ingratiate. It's snowing in Kentucky? Interesting. Jody didn't seem in the least bit keen to impress or ingratiate herself to them, seeming generally disinterested in anyone but Travis. His friends detected a kind of jealousy to her, how she seemed to act overly possessive of Travis, yet at the same time didn't seem to show him much affection either. From the get-go, they found Jody's behavior worrying, even frightening. Shortly after Jody moved onto her grandparents' home in Wairika. Hey, Green Turtles, what's good? How do you become a mod? You must prove your fealty to the crown. Shortly after Jody moved onto her grandparents' Jesus Christ. Shortly after Jody moved into her grandparents' home in Wairika, she and Travis arranged to accompany one another on a week-long work-related trip to Cancun, down in Mexico. The trip was scheduled for June 15th, and the couple intended to make something of a vacation out of it. However, not long after, Travis reportedly went to company HQ to request that his travel companion be changed to another member of the sales team. There has been much speculation regarding why exactly this is, but our best guess is to assume that it involved a breakdown in his and Jody's relationship. Then on May 28th, Jody called Travis in a state of distress. She told him there had been a burglary at her grandparents' place where she was staying, and felt so unsafe that she begged to come and stay with him for a while. The burglars had apparently stolen a number of valuable items during the break-in, but perhaps the most significant was a .25 caliber Colt pistol which had belonged to her grandfather. Police had no luck finding the perpetrators, and eventually gave up looking altogether, as they couldn't seem to find a single shred of evidence that might give them a clue to the identity of any of the people involved. In the face of Jody begging to stay with him, Travis straight up refused. This is perhaps the best evidence we have that their pair had broken up by that point. If Travis loved her, or had any feelings at all for her, surely he would have offered her a place to stay. Only he didn't. Or maybe it was the case that Travis did love her, but something else was stopping him from inviting him over. Shit. It's the Hawk. What's good, Hawkster? Oh, Maud, mother of dad. How do you become a member? I have an Apple phone. Yeah, so in the same place where you can type chat, there's like a money sign where you can donate, but there's also, I think, like a join button or something on the page, like top of the page or something. Someone has, I'm sure someone will figure it out. I'm not sure on mobile though. Travis did love her, but something else was stopping him from inviting her over. It's possible that there have been many another woman in Travis's life. However, it's also possible that Travis didn't invite Jody over because he was afraid of her. Jody called Travis yet again on June 2nd, repeatedly attempting to reach him between the hours of 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., but her cell phone records show that, since the longest call was a mere 17 seconds, he apparently didn't pick up the phone. Then, just after 3 in the morning, Travis called Jody back, and the pair engaged in a lengthy conversation. We have no idea what was said during the call, but we do know that at around 5:30 that same morning, Jody drove over to a car rental place over in Redding, California, entering the business shortly after it opened at 8 a.m. She told the clerk that she wished to use the car for the long drive to Utah for a work-related trip, and then drove it to visit a few friends on her way to Utah, where she would meet up with a fellow PPL employee by the name of Ryan Burns. Yet Jody didn't show up to meet Ryan until late in the evening on June 3rd, leaving a sizable amount of time to be accounted for that day. And when she did show up in the West Jordan suburb of Salt Lake City to meet up with Ryan Burns, her colleague noticed some unusual things about her. Firstly, he saw that her normally dyed blonde hair was now brown, but not its natural shade of brown, and that she seemed to have cuts or scratches all over her hands. Jody also refused to let him near the rental car, insisting that they take his car to the PPL business conference. Naturally, Ryan thought this behavior was unusual, but the pair had more important things to think about, as the conference would keep each of them occupied for the majority of the day. Ryan had another reason to keep quiet about such unusual behavior, and that's because he and Jody had begun something of a love affair during their time in Utah, with the two spending several hours hugging and kissing on a large beanbag chair at the place that they were staying. Jody also reassured him about the cuts on her hands by telling him that she had gotten them while working part-time at a Mexican restaurant in the Wairika area, an excuse that seemed good enough for him to quiet his suspicions. Once their business was adjourned, Jody departed from Salt Lake City on June the 6th, driving back westward towards California. Her cell phone records showed that she attempted to call Travis several times, leaving a handful of voicemails, yet she apparently also found a way to access this voicemail system. Why exactly she chose to do so is still a matter of conjecture, but we can all agree that it constitutes some rather unusual behavior. When she returned the rental car to the outlet in Redding, the clerk began to inspect the interior as a matter of routine, It is then that he too noticed something unusual. The vehicle was missing its floor mats on the driver and passenger side. There were also some kind of stains on the upholstery, as if some thick liquid had been spilled and then left to dry. However, since the upholstery was black and the color of said liquid was not visible, no suspicions were raised among the staff at the car rental outlet, and the interior was clean before it could be inspected by anyone of any importance. Meanwhile, a few days prior, Travis's employers had tried to contact him for a conference call, only to have their calls unanswered. The same pattern repeated itself for a few days, with friends and colleagues calling only for Travis to not pick up his phone. By June 9th, as a handful of Travis's friends were beginning to worry amongst themselves regarding his well-being, they agreed to go over to his home to check up on him. They spoke to a few of the other tenants who lived in the same building as Travis did, and found that they had not seen him in a few days. But since he traveled for work frequently, they didn't seem to think that there was anything to worry about. However, one of Travis's neighbors was in possession of a spare key to his apartment, which Travis had entrusted with... Damn it. God dang it, Bobby. Travis' apartment. However, one of Travis's neighbors was in possession of a spare key to his apartment, which Travis has entrusted them with on the off chance. You guys are getting married in my chat? Whoa, dude. This is a monumental moment. Steve's gonna be flower girl. I'm a floral girl. However, one of Travis's neighbors was in possession of a spare key to his apartment, which Travis has entrusted them with on the off chance he should ever lose his keys. The concerned group of friends proceeded to unlock the door to Travis's apartment, calling out his name as they entered. Then one of them froze with a sharp gasp, pointing to a pool of congealed blood that sat in the hallway in Travis's bedroom. In panic, they began to search the apartment for him, eventually being greeted by the sight of his day-old corpse husband. It was corpse husband. Hello, guys. I am Travis now. Do I need a blood over intent ritual to become a moderator? You do, actually. But good luck figuring it out. Only the mods know. And they all stumbled upon it randomly. I remember my one friend, his girl from work asked him to officiate their wedding. And he was all about it. And then he, bailed really late. And then she, never spoke to him again. Well, I mean, they spoke eventually, but initially she was really fucking mad. Because he just bailed on it. And obviously, Bridezilla, she's going to be pissed. In a panic, they began to search the apartment for him, eventually being greeted by the sight of his days-old corpse, which was lying in the bathtub, covered in blood. His friends cried and screamed as they called 911, but they did not attempt to revive him, as it was obvious from the state of his dead body that he had been deceased for a while. During the 911 call that followed the discovery, a police dispatcher asked if Travis had potentially thought about ending his own life, or if his friends knew of anyone who may have been threatening his life. His friends immediately mentioned Jodi Arias, his ex-girlfriend, as a possible suspect in his murder. He said that, in the days prior to his death, Travis had mentioned that Jodi had been stalking him, accusing him of seeing someone else, and seemed to be in some kind of jealous rage. This psychopathic jealousy had led her to begin attempting to access his Facebook account, and even going so far as slashing his car's tires. When investigating police arrived at Travis's home, they commenced an intense search for any evidence or clues as to the identity of his killer. One of the most curious things they discovered was a recently purchased digital camera in the washing machine. Despite a large amount of water damage, police were able to recover the camera's memory card and found on it a number of photographs which someone had apparently attempted to delete. These photographs showed Travis and Jody in numerous suggestive poses, taking on the afternoon of... Mother farter, dude. Brittany with the 5 says, Joel, please officiate the wedding. I'm getting married to Eileen and Athena next Halloween, and we need you. Well, a 3-way wedding. I'm going to have to grow an extra mouth so I can say all the official words. By far the greatest danger of artificial intelligence is that people conclude too early that they understand it. This is true. Despite a large amount of water damage, police were able to recover the camera's memory card and found on it a number of photographs which someone had apparently attempted to delete. These photographs showed Travis and Jody in numerous suggestive poses taken on the afternoon of June 4th. The final photograph in the series was taken at 5:39 p.m. that same day and showed Travis alive and well while he was taking a shower. In it, he was smiling playfully, completely naked, in a candid depiction of the man's final moments. Fuck. A naked boy. Eileen, just tell me how to fucking say it. I don't know how to say it. You yell at me for not knowing how to say it, but you gotta spell it out. You gotta spell it. I don't fucking know. Eileen, Aileen, Ooleen, Beeleen, Smiling, Scrimeline, Merlermline. I don't fucking know. Sorry. Is it Sploomleam? Is it Scriblarleam? People get too attached to their names. Just let your name go. Just let it be whatever. Mine could potentially be Squiggle Squum Puff, you know? Aileen, not Eileen. Well, you've been calling me Joel forever. It's Squiggle Squum. I'm offended. See, I'm more offended than you are. You can't out-offend me if I'm the most offended. See? I've out-offended you. Try and keep up. Squiggle Squum out. Peace. The final photograph in the series was taken at 5:39 p.m. that same day and showed Travis alive and well while he was taking a shower. In it, he was smiling playfully, completely naked, a candid depiction of the man's final moments. As another photograph, taken just minutes later, showed Travis bleeding profusely while lying on the bathroom floor. DNA samples were taken from bloody handprints found in the bathroom, which gave police all the evidence they needed to arrest a suspect, as they contained not only Travis's DNA, but Jodi Arias's too. After being indicted for first-degree murder by a grand jury in Maricopa County, Jodi was arrested at her home in California and then extradited to Arizona on September 5, 2008. Less than a week later, she pled not guilty, giving several different accounts of her alleged involvement in Travis's death. At first, she told investigating police officers that she was nowhere near Arizona on the day her ex-boyfriend was murdered. Then, after pressure from the cops, she admitted she was present at the time of his death, but that it had involved a home invasion, whereby 2 individuals broke into Travis's residence before killing him and attacking her in turn. 2 years of investigation later, Jodi then changed her story entirely, telling the police that she had indeed killed Travis, but had only done so in self-defense. She spun a tale of brutal domestic violence, how she was a victim of a cruel and violent man, and how she regularly feared for her life around him. At her trial in February of 2013, Jodi told the jury that she had been physically and emotionally abused by her parents, and that her life with Travis had echoed that same cycle of abuse and guardianship, one that she wanted to escape from, but couldn't quite bring herself to. She went on to describe the abusive type of life that Travis subjected her to, one that included a great deal of BDSM and other painful acts, most of which were in direct violation of the Mormon rules regarding such things. Jody also had recorded a phone conversation that she had with Travis, one that she used as evidence to prove that at one point Travis had wanted to use zip ties to tie her to a tree while she was dressed as Little Red Riding Hood. Jody is heard to respond enthusiastically on the phone, but told the court it was all an act, that the idea terrified her, and was typical of the kinds of things that Travis wanted to do. Jody also mentioned that Travis had admitted to find underage children attractive, basically painting him to be a complete monster. However, the prosecution argued that Jody was a vengeful, vindictive person who had only recorded the phone conversation in an attempt to blackmail Travis and embarrass him in front of his Mormon peers. The prosecution also questioned a forensics expert before the jury, prompting them to say that there had been a thorough Now Jody is the kind of girlfriend I'm looking for. Can Scary Story YouTube narrators cross over? Do you mean like collab with each other? For show. Or do you mean crossover into the spirit realm? Because that, in that case, also for show. Joe Lizzie's breaking up with me. I didn't even know we were dating. That's the perfect girlfriend right there, where you don't even know you're together. The prosecution also questioned a forensics expert. Blah, blah. Thank you, Eileen. I appreciate the forgiveness. It's very virtuous of you. The prosecution also questioned a forensics expert. I can't say that fucking shit. The prosecution also questioned a forensics? Man, too many flugging motherfucking letters in this word. Alright, I'm going to say forensic expert. The prosecution also questioned a forensic expert before the jury, prompting them to say that there had been a thorough examination of Travis's computer, one in which absolutely no evidence of... Oh, fuck. I can't say that. Coils. Jesus. I love crazy chicks. And crazy chicks love me. Corpse Husband, let's read collaboration. The fundamental cause of the trouble is that in the modern world, the stupid are cocksure while the intelligent are full of doubt. This is possible. Too many cockshores out there. Everybody's sure of their cock. A LMAO lean. The prosecution also questions... fuck, dude. Can I just fucking finish this goddamn sentence? The prosecution also questioned a forensic expert before the jury, prompting them to say that there had been a thorough examination of Travis's computer, one in which absolutely had no evidence of child pictures found, nor were there any references to anything intimate with children. Rebuttal witnesses from the prosecution also included several of Travis's other girlfriends, who stated he never exhibited any problems with anger or violence. Clinical psychologist Janine DeMarthe testified for the prosecution, stating that she found no evidence that Travis had ever abused Jody. DeMarthe also said that Jody suffered from borderline personality disorder, showing signs of immaturity and an unstable sense of identity. The final nail in Jody's legal coffin was the prosecution telling the jury that a single .25 caliber bullet casing was found near Travis's body, the same caliber of the gun that was stolen from her grandparents' place just a week before the murder. As it turns out, Jody had faked the entire burglary. Fuck. As it turns out, Jody had faked the entire burglary. The burglary. Imagine saying burglary underwater. Can you get a Discord invite? Mods? Your little bro is watching a short horror film called Wet Willy. Because you can't argue with all the fools in the world, it's easier to let them have their way than trick them when they're not paying attention. Oh, then trick them when they're not paying attention. Yeah, I suppose so. As it turned out, Jody had faked the entire burglary just to obtain the murder weapon, which not only showed that she was a dangerous psychopath, willing to hurt those close to her to achieve her goals, but that she had actually been planning to kill Travis for quite some... Fuck! Fucking fuckity fuckity fuck. Okay, we're almost there. As it turns out, Jody had faked the entire burglary just to obtain the murder weapon, which not only showed that she was a dangerous psychopath, willing to hurt those close to her to achieve her goals, but that she had actually been planning to kill Travis for quite some time. After a trial that had reportedly cost the U.S. taxpayer over $3 million, the jury found Jody guilty of first-degree murder, and she only narrowly avoided the death penalty when the judge essentially took pity on her mental illness, sentencing her... Bruh. After the trial, that had reportedly cost the U.S. taxpayer over $3 million, the jury found Jody guilty of first-degree murder, and she only narrowly avoided the death penalty when a judge essentially took pity on her mental illness, sentencing her to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. She was also ordered to pay Travis's siblings over $30,000 in damages. As of 2016, Jody is housed at Arizona State Prison Complex, Perryville, and her case and trial have been the subject of a great deal of social media interest, with even Donald Trump commenting on what he called her obvious guilt. Perhaps the most disturbing aspect of the whole sordid drama is that Travis may well have genuinely believed that he had found the love of his life, and how, in searching for the fairy tale romance that all people... and how in searching for the fairy tale romance that all people want deep down, he found the polar opposite, a living nightmare that would end in him losing his life to someone who could fairly be described as a conniving, violent, psychopathic predator. Relationships break down all the time for a variety of reasons. People hurt, people cry, but most ultimately move on and... Sorry, that sounded weird. Relationships break down all the time, for a variety of reasons. People hurt, people cry, but most ultimately move on and find someone else. Jody took that chance away from Travis in a horridly callous and bloody manner. Instead of letting Travis go, she dragged him down like a sinking ship, one which neither of them will ever emerge. Fuck. God, I don't know. I feel like these sentences are just too big for my brain. Should do a Q&A. I do Q&As pretty much every stream, you know. Like, people ask me questions like every stream, so you can kind of look at every stream pretty much as just like an ongoing Q&A. So if anybody ever has questions, please do feel free to ask them. Instead of letting Travis go, she dragged him down like a sinking ship, one which neither of them will ever emerge from intact. Order some pizza after this. I wish. It's too late. All the pizza places are closed. Your brain is small. It only uses 5% of all the sugar on Earth. I need more sugar. We made it, guys. We fucking made it. What's my middle name? I'm not gonna tell my middle name. Lauren Serpenetto with the 5 says, love your channel. Happy holidays. XO sending love from New Jersey. Thank you, Lauren. Much love to you. Joyzy. All up in Joyzy. Daddy Sauce. Read my name. Daddy Sauce. Daddy Sauce. Daddy Sauce. Say it 3 times. You will get some in your hands. Well, we made it, my friends. And remember, someday love will find you. The idea for the outro. It's a solid idea. But I won't say it because it's too sappy. I don't like sappy shit. I like funny shit. Because what if I'm making a promise like that and then they end up like that guy in the woods eating pine cones wearing, pelt lingerie? Can't be giving my viewers that kind of hope. What's my ethnicity? I am American. 100% American, which means I'm part eagle, part star, part fucking assault rifle. Mushdark TTV with the 5 says, shout out from England, been watching you a long time, never seen you live, mate. Well, thank you, Mushdark. I like that name. Sounds like a Pokemon. Mushdark. Oh, that would be cool. Mushdark would be like a dark version of Grimer or some shit. That would be cool. What's my eye color? I can just pure black, just straight, soulless, jaws, shark eyes. I've already agreed to officiate, but I will bail out like my friends, so be prepared for that. Will you ever collab with scary YouTube narrators like Being Scary or Mortis Media? Yep, done a lot of collaborations with those homies. Isn't that what it means to be a scientist? To push the boundaries of the unknown, to bravely, actively explore the enormity of our universe. I guess. Sometimes some scientists like to find out why poop is different colors, That's what they're interested in. So if maybe you could change the quote around to like, push the boundaries of the unknown to bravely and actively explore people's poop. That'd be scientific. Gonna go watch Sniper with. Is she live? Just so you know, we're in a relationship. I hath decided. Give me a live stream on Christmas Eve and Christmas. What day is Christmas Eve? Christmas Eve is a Thursday. I don't know what we're doing with family. We'll get that figured out. Well, me friends, we have arrived at the end of the stream. I want to say I appreciate you guys being here. We have to read the outro, so please think of something. You want me to say that about the poop thing? The poop mouth? The enormity of our butts. Yeah, I'll say that. Hey friends, thanks for listening. click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/letsreadofficial, and give and receive feedback from the community, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And join my Discord to interact with me and other listeners directly. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations for just $1 a month on Patreon, and maybe even pick up some Let's Read merch on Spreadshirt. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all these stories in long compilation form and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the bio. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, isn't that what it means to be a scientist? To push the boundaries of the unknown, to bravely, actively explore the enormity of our butts. There it is. And remember, cats are awesome and will take over your life and conquer your sadness. We'll do that one next time. Well, guys, thank you again for being so cool. So kick-assedly cool. I hope you have a Hackus, have a kick-ass summer and stuff. But yeah, join the Discord to chat with everyone. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, all linked down below. Follow me on my meme page @HornyComputer for some serious laughs. Hopefully I don't get banned. For saying simp too much or some shit. But yeah, I'm gonna edit this. Like I said, you can get early access to the audio first on Patreon. It's only $1 a month, and then it's $10 for a year if you buy in bulk narrations. Which, how many narrations do I? Okay, so 3 a week times 4. That's 12 narrations in a month times 12 months. That's 144 narrations. They're all about. Let's do some time. How much content do I provide in a year? Let's say 144 times 48 minutes, just hypothetically. Wow. I provide nearly 5 straight days of content every year for you guys. Every year I do it for you. I do it for you. So if you ever just really want to like binge some Let's Read, just don't even listen to me for a whole year, and then come back and just get into a cryostasis while you have my shit running for 5 days straight. That would be pretty lit. Maybe you get stuck inside. I wonder if that would be actual torture for somebody, if they'd actually go insane just listening to me for 5 days straight. It'd be kind of funny. But anyways, yeah. That'd be awesome. I love you guys. I appreciate you sticking around. This was like 3.5 hours. Woza. But, yeah. Keep coming back for more. I'll be here. Lord willing, I'll be here. And, we'll get it done. Peace out, Girl and or Boy Scouts. And I shall see you soon. Much love to ya.